Here at Second Wind, we sure do like talking, but not everyone wants to look at us while we talk. Well, good news! Our podcasts like Windbreaker, Firelink, DevHeads, and The Rewind, plus audio-only episodes of Fully Ramblematic and Adventure Is Nigh are all on Spotify or your PPP. And that's your preferred podcast platform.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rewind, episode number 28 for Tuesday, August 26, 2025. My name is Marty Sleva, and I'm joined by Darren Mooney, Jack Packard, and producer Eric. And we have a genre TV-centric episode for y'all today. We've watched the first couple episodes of Alien Earth on Hulu / Disney Plus / Star. Does that still exist in other places? Star?
Star was always part of Disney Plus, so it was like it was the adults part of Disney Plus. It was the part of Disney Plus where you get I know.
You can see a boob?
You get the Fox movies in there.
Like Robin Hood. And then we'll also be chatting about the first episode of Peacemaker, season 2, and then a bunch of other stuff we've been watching, including a movie I didn't know existed until a few minutes ago. I didn't watch that one. I think that's how existing works. Yeah. Welcome. How are you guys doing?
I love the idea of you just watching it at 1,000 times speed going, I think I got it.
I'm one of those human computers from Dune that's just my eyes roll back. I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
This is one of those movies. We'll get to it when we talk about it later, but it is one of those movies where you could just see every 100th frame of film and kind of get what's happening and just
got the gist of it.
Just watch one frame.
You probably
every
have
minute.
as much awareness of it now as I do. It is fading fast.
I was just worried because I didn't know what it was, and I like knowing what things are. One thing I do know, and I think all of us know, is Noah Hawley has a new Alien miniseries out on Hulu called Alien Earth.
Yeah.
The first 2 episodes premiered last week, and then the 3rd episode is on there now. Darren, excellent episode of the Backdrop one up this morning with you and Jesse put together on Alien Earth and kind of Alien. A larger scope Alien as a whole, which I think is a great video. Everyone should watch. But I guess right off the bat, Darren, what did you think of this opening of Alien Earth?
I liked it a lot. I mean, again, it is, as you say, it is an 8-episode TV show. I believe it is planned to run multiple seasons. I suspect it is
so
designed to be a longer play.
I didn't know that.
But the plan is that there will presumably be future seasons, like there were for Fargo, like there were for Legion, obviously the shows that Hawley did. But yeah, I really love this.
Can I pitch what it should be? Alien : and then another planet. Every season, different planet.
Alien Venus, Alien Mars,
Alien Uranus.
Alien Uranus. There we go. Yeah.
Butt hugger.
Think about it and think about the ratings.
Is it Alien dash in Uranus as well?
The checks are writing themselves. Incredible. Yeah. Sorry, Darren.
Alien. Why do I care about where he is?
You were eloquently explaining the show to us. I apologize.
No, that's great. I really like it. It manages to do the thing that I really like that Hawley does, which is obviously he is a big fan of 70s pop culture in general. He's obviously a very big fan of the original Alien movie in particular, but he has this ability that is gold dust in the modern landscape. It is Noah Hawley was grown in a lab for this to be his moment in terms of culture, which is that he manages to strike the perfect balance of being a guy who is very literate, very literary, has big ideas, big themes, who's very interested in the craft of storytelling and the craft of filmmaking, but also at the same time is a guy you can safely hand the keys of an expensive car to and trust him to kind of land the plane. Where Alien Earth manages to do this thing, which I find really impressive, of managing to be both very like the Alien movies in terms of its texture, in terms of its themes, in terms of its storytelling. It looks like the 1979 film. I would argue even more than Alien Romulus, Fede Alvarez's most recent Alien movie, which did look very like the Alien movie. But the way that this is shot, the way that it uses things like smoke and crossfades, and the way that it uses lingering camera movements is much more the cinematic language of the 70s, which is something that Hawley's very interested in. If you've watched Fargo, the second season of Fargo takes place in the 70s. If you watch Legion, the aesthetics of that show are rooted in the 70s. But while managing to recreate a large part of like the sense memory of what it was to watch Alien. Hawley also is like, but I want to tell a story that interests me, and I want to tell a story where I have room to tell a story my way. So obviously when he does, like, Legion is an X-Men TV show, but it is in no way associated with the X-Men film franchise or even a lot of the comics and stuff. It is him taking those basic ideas and filtering them through his unique aesthetic. Fargo takes place within the world of the film, but takes place in a different location every year, has a complete cast changeover, and is in conversation with like the Coen brothers' larger filmography without being beholden to continuity. And there is something I really love about this, which is it does that thing that I love when franchise media does, which is one of my issues with something like Alien Romulus is that it literally makes the Alien universe seem smaller. In that, like, a large part of, without getting into specifics about the plot of Alien Romulus, I'm aware people might not have seen it, but like a large part of what that movie is about is like, what happened to the alien corpse after Alien? And is there a way that we can bridge the gap between Alien and Aliens and connect the tissue and tie the threads together?
Mhm.
And what I like about Alien Earth is that while it is very much indebted to the Alien franchise, Hawley is very clearly going, yeah, all that stuff is over here. I'm going to take that and add to it. And in adding to it, I can do stuff that interests me. I can add elements of plot, elements of story, elements of world that will be mine and mine alone. And therefore, I can do whatever I want with them because they don't exist within the canon lore, within the established mythology as it existed when I got a hold of it. It's just, it is for me the platonic ideal of an adaptation. So far, Darren says 3 episodes in.
Yeah, Jack, what do you think?
I think there is a lot to very much like about Alien Earth. Specifically for me, all of the casting choices. I think like Darren kind of hopping off of your like 70s vibe. I don't want to make fun of anyone when I say they cast actors with character in their faces. They did not cast models to be in this. Like, everyone looks like they would be in a random 70s movie. And to me, that makes it a very interesting thing to watch, just seeing people's faces. The acting in general, I think, is top notch. I had to look up the IMDb. Alex Lothar, who plays the brother, who is doing an incredible amount of emotional lifting just because of the I'm trying not to spoil anything, but because of the circumstances of whomst he is acting against, is doing all, if not most of the acting work emotionally, and is killing it over and over again. Overall,
you might not recognize him, but he has an incredible role in one single arc of season 1 of Andor. I think that's where a lot of people are going to recognize him, like an extremely pivotal. He's only in 3 episodes, I think, but extremely kind of pivotal to the entire series.
Yeah, his voiceover comes back in both the first and second season finales, for example. And like, he also popped up, I think he was in an episode of Black Mirror, one that I remember particularly well, the one that starred Braun, if you remember Braun from Game of Thrones.
That's right, and it turns out he's a bad dude. This kid's a bad dude in that episode.
yeah, like it is an incredible episode of television because it plays so well with your empathy and your sympathy. But yeah, he's phenomenal, and like Alex Lothar, just incredible actor.
Yeah, just phenomenal. Timothy Oliphant as just
as Roy Batty.
From Blade Runner. Yeah.
Samuel Blanken, who plays our kind of like, household billionaire. Just phenomenal acting all throughout the series. That being said, I am perfectly whelmed by this. Maybe it was a lot. By the way, a lot of my talks for this episode is going to be how whelmed I am. So maybe I was in a bad mood last week when I watched everything. But to me, all this is doing is kind of stirring the same pot that Aliens stirred as compared to Alien, where it's like we're just kind of exploring more of the same territory of like, what if we spent more time with the billionaires? And I'm not quite hooked. I'm not disinterested, but I'm not quite hooked.
I think I love this show. Like, I think I emphatically love this show.
Yeah.
And I did not go in expecting that, although I should, because I love Legion and I love Fargo. And then the less said about he did that Natalie Portman movie about the astronaut, right?
He did, and immediately ran back to television. It's one of those.
Yeah. So
about,
less said about that one.
It's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which is based on a true story, and it is very much like proof that he is perfect for this moment. No other moment, but this moment, Noah Hawley is perfect for.
I think the thing I'm gravitating towards so much. I mean, you guys mentioned I love the sort of that 70s tactility of everything, like the everything and everyone look like they're a part of this universe, and like you said, Jack, not like they're just here's a green screen background, or here's there's like these perfectly groomed models or everything. I also love that every episode in my mind, I'm like, I know what this season is going to be. And then something happens and I'm like, oh, they already solved the thing that I thought would be the entire scope of the series. I thought it would take the entire 8 episodes for the two main characters to collide, the characters who are related to collide. It doesn't. They collide in the first or second episode. Then they're separated, and I thought it would take another 8 episodes. I'd be like, oh, they have to get back together now. That's the thing. Beginning of the first episode, the next episode, they're back together. I'm like, oh, I have no fucking idea where the show is going, and I kind of love it, and I kind of love being on the ride for that.
But I mean, even like the setting of the first couple of episodes, the first 2 episodes is an expensive set that looks like it cost lots of money to build, and is massively central to like motivating the plot of the movie. And then, as you say, at the end of the second episode, start the third episode, like, well, we're done with that now.
And I don't know, like. I don't know where we're going to be by the time episode 8 comes around. And I love that Holly seems like he's able to just deliver so many things I didn't expect to see in an Alien movie, show, story, and have it all fit in there. Things like expanding the sort of critters and monsters we're seeing, beyond just xenomorphs and facehuggers into things that fit in the language of Alien. But it's like there's like all of a sudden an eyeball pops out of a cat, and the eyeball has little tendrils and it's running around. I'm like, fucking, I don't know what this is, but I like it. It's weird and it's creepy and it's here. And then other things like I think it's in the second episode where they're trying to clear out this apartment building that the ship has crashed into, and there's a xenomorph everywhere, and they open the door and there's this kind of like foppish, eyes wide shut kind of Barry Lyndon party going on that these rich people don't give a shit. And I'm like, I really hope the alien goes in there and really causes a ruckus. 20 seconds later, the alien goes in there and he causes a mess, and it's great.
But like, there's also in that like a wonderful moment where like there's a sculpture in the background, and it turns out the alien has been on the sculpture for the whole scene, and it's perfect because it's a great illustration of like the joy of taking the alien and putting it in a unique situation or a unique scenario where it's not. And I love the Alien franchise. I'm not being rude or anything like that, but where it's not like a desolate colony world, or it's not an alien, or it's not a spaceship, or it's not a space station, where it's like if you drop it into an apartment building with like brutalist architecture, you get to do fun stuff like that. It's great.
Agreed. And I think like Marty mentioning the how do we want to say that, like the foppish slaughter, which there is a lot of fun to this. Like, I don't want to come across 100% negative, because there's a lot of fun to this. I don't think this is going to be spoilers, because this is the first 10 minutes of episode 1. But we spend a good chunk of that first part of episode 1 establishing all of our characters as if this were an Alien movie. We learn about their interrelationships. There's some hostility on the ship. People are waking up from cryosleep. Other people are going into cryosleep. We are setting up basically Alien or Aliens. We are setting up a movie, hard cut. The alien is already loose. Everyone's dead. And the ship is about to crash into Earth. We just skipped the entire movie, and that's fun.
Because it's the movie, is the thing, and like it's so good at establishing fate, because it's like you see that they could just do Alien 1979 for television if they wanted to. So it's not a skill issue. It's not like they're doing like what they're doing because they couldn't do 1979. They're showing you, no, we could do that. We just want to do other stuff too, which is incredible. I like that. I like that as a show of force.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of. That's a little bit of it. Kind of like drawing a line in the sand of going like, hey, y'all, this is the ride we're about to go on. We just want to make sure that the rules that you think apply to this series do not. Pew pew, lovingly, pew pew. That's me raising my middle fingers in case you're listening to this later.
That was beautiful. I think everyone knows the universal sound of raising middle
Pew,
fingers
pew.
is
Pew,
also
pew.
the sound of like old school lasers.
Laura Dern mouthing while appearing in The Last Jedi.
I also love that a big chunk of the main characters in this game are, or in this show are, and again, I don't think it's spoilers. This is just the premise of the series. Are these terminally ill children who are like 11, 12 years old, I think, who have their consciousness placed into the bodies, like synthetic bodies. So they have the like super powered bodies that are super strong and they can jump and punch and all that stuff, but they have the minds and personalities of children, and the adult actors do an incredible job of having that kind of like childlike whimsy. And it's such a, because if they were actual children actors, you'd be like, it is fucked up that you're sending them in to go take care of the xenomorph, but that they're in the bodies of the adults. I'm like, all right, let's see what's going to happen here. let's send him into this ship and see what happens if a facehugger gets on
and
them.
that
I'm
does
curious.
This is part of my whelming my whelming feelings. Is it though that does hit the same note that both Alien and Aliens hit, with like kind of the billionaire, or the corpo head being so out of touch with reality that he sends these children into this dangerous situation. And there is a fair amount of meat on that bone as far as story is concerned, but my metaphor is going to get all over the place. And so there's a lot in that story, but there's a lot that we've also kind of already dealt with within the Alien franchise. It's fun here and it's interesting. I'm going to keep watching, but
But I want to say, just while we're on like the children, like that is to my mind like a great example of taking the logic of the Alien franchise and doing something similar but different, and giving you new area to play in, which is like, obviously synthetic life forms are a huge part of the Alien franchise. They have been since the beginning. Ridley Scott just went full tilt into it with Michael Fassbender, God's perfect android. But like I like
true.
that Hawley.
It's just true.
Hawley is like, what do I do with that is new and interesting? And he gives you two things. He gives you, first of all, he gives you cyborgs, which are like humans that have been like mechanized, which gives you the character of Morrow, who is really interesting. And again, without getting into spoilers, is doing really interesting stuff. And like, to like Marty's point of, I don't know where the show is going, but I'm here for the ride. I'm like, I am so excited to see what happens with that guy, with Morrow in particular. But like, he's a cyborg, and it's a new interesting angle that is adjacent to stuff you've already seen. Feels like it belongs in the universe, but gives you a whole new set of tools to play with. And like the synthoids, which are the hybrids, which is the idea of like, you have these mechanical bodies. Of course, the first thing billionaires are going to try to do is to figure out how to make themselves functionally immortal. And of course, the way they're going to do that is by experimenting on children. It is such a clever hook. And like, it gives you, to me, is very central to what the themes of the larger Alien franchise is about. Because the Alien franchise is about, it's about sex. It's about like reproductive horror. It's about sexual violence. Obviously the facehugger is a vagina that rapes your mouth. The chest burster is a penis with teeth that bursts out of your body. It is all explicitly sexualized. The alien kills you by penetrating you with its mouth penis. But like, throughout that, there's the idea of like reproduction and children. And the androids are like humanity's children, but the androids are also like sterile and can't create themselves, and so are like really frustrated. Like, going back to even Ash when he's shoving that magazine down Ripley's throat, like there's so much sexual frustration in there. And the children here, which are like, you're taking children and you're putting them in adult bodies, is to me like the perfect expression of that, which is you are creating immortal, perpetual children who will never have to grow up and who will never have to mature. And like, you can, if you want to be slightly cynical, you can say, is Hawley having maybe a bit of a go at the idea of like doing this franchise stuff, where it's like, are we being invited ourselves to remain children forever because we're still watching like 1970s entertainment? There's a really lovely, charming, surprisingly sweet, but also kind of darkly funny, like, emphasis on Ice Age in these episodes, which is so incredible. It's such an interesting choice because it is so perfect that Ice Age survives. You can tell that like Hawley is a little disappointed that he's doing this at Disney and he doesn't have Shrek. But like, I love that it is
But if you've seen that image online, it's
Yes.
the shot of our main character Wendy, the hybrid android with a kind of a transparent is that
Sid
Gus
the sloth?
from
Oh,
who is
is it
that
Gus
from?
or is it Gus
I've
the
never
pirate or
seen.
Sid the sloth? Okay. All right.
Sid the Sloth. Yeah. So it's like a transparent Sid the Sloth with our main character. That is an actual still from
Yeah.
this series. And by the way, it works. It's not
Yeah.
weird at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like how if you pause Lord of the Rings, it's really weird when like Elrond's face is there when Frodo's passed out. But like in the movie, it's fine. But just an individual still, it's like, what the fuck is this movie?
Yeah.
Almost as if images have context.
There Darren goes again with one of his crazy.
What a crazy ideas. Oh man, Mooney.
Yeah. Some people I've seen some people criticizing the show, saying it feels like it's like a teen version of Alien, which I don't see. Like it is less scary so far. Like it doesn't, like there's very few scenes that feel scary just because like the
Also,
way
they're androids. Like they can't be face hugged. Like there's a wonderful moment
Yeah.
where like the boy Cavalier goes near an egg, and Timothy Oliphant's like, no. Like,
Yeah.
It's like it's like we can do this because we're androids, and they don't react to us because we're not alive. You're right. There is like a
but
clear.
you need to back up a
thing.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe the fact that it's a sort of a more sprawling cast, so we're cutting between locations and places as opposed to being, stuck inside the Nostromo or something. But I don't see that again as I see that as a feature, not a bug. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I don't think there's anything about this show that is like, this doesn't feel like, I don't know, like Riverdale or anything. Like just because the main characters are like the minds of children. Like they show the aftermath of the FOP disaster. That's pretty violent. There's no like
CWification here. This is not like, hot and horny teens in the Alien universe.
I love the idea, by the way, of the first responders being it's a real FOP disaster in here. Like to that point about like the teenage stuff, like to me that always struck me as like this is a father writing about kids and writing about raising kids and writing about raising kids in a world that is inherently hostile to them. And like slight spoiler for an article that I may or may not publish at some point in the future, but it does feel part of like the wider tapestry of pop culture this summer, which is like, are the kids okay? Or in Michael Jordan terms, fuck them kids. Where it's like 28 years later has like this story with Spike, where Spike has to learn that his father is not who he thinks he is and has to grow up and take care of his mother. Weapons has a story involving a child having to grow up very quickly and having to deal with responsibilities that are beyond what children should have to deal with. But even something like Bring Her Back, it's in there as well. And you could argue like Fantastic Four has the whole anxiety with like Reed Richards and the baby, for example. Like it's all over pop culture. And here it does feel to me like it is a parent. He's not writing to kids. He is writing to people his own age about like, have we messed up are our kids ruined? Like, are our kids being put in these incredibly dangerous situations by us because we want to hold on for just a little bit longer? We're kind of like, we refuse to accept our own mortality, and we see children as vehicles for pursuing that. It is worth noting, by the way, that like Hawley plays the main character, Wendy's father. If you look at the flashback scenes in the episode, that is Noah Hawley, the showrunner, playing her father.
Oh, that's a fun
He does not
fact.
have any lines. It's a fun fact because it is his son playing the younger version of Alex Lawther's character, because he thought it would be nice to have like a little family snapshot they did together. And it was like, so yeah, I'll play the father, he'll play the son. But I think from my perspective, I kind of don't see it as being teen focused. I see it more as being like parental anxiety.
Well, and they're like, to me, like I'm going to continue watching because I can see a flip being switched, for my feelings personally, of like there is like thinking about like kind of how the teens are in this. They are very detached. They are, they're very unaware of any dangers. They're very like they're exactly kind of how I see my teenagers, where they're going through their own stuff, but they're very detached. But we are getting little, and the show does make a point specifically that they are like, in order to elicit emotions from them, we have to do special procedures and blah, blah, blah. But like there is the cracks are starting to show in that. And the teens are starting to emote, and it could be very, very exciting to see where that goes.
Yeah, I like that specifically, that you have the one girl who is clearly kind of jealous
Yeah.
of Wendy, that Wendy
Yeah.
is like the first fiddle. You have the other kid who is going along with Wendy, who has communication with the cyborg and is starting to like question what was it? What's more
When is a machine? When is a machine not a machine?
What is machine? Yeah, which
Yeah.
like is almost echoes of like more human than human,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Which I'm excited. As a big fan of Legion, I'm excited to see how weird Holly's able to get with this. I mean,
yeah.
and Fargo, like one of the seasons of Fargo ends with aliens. There's aliens. Like there's a fucking UFO in one of the seasons of Fargo. Like what?
But like,
So, I mean,
there's John Hamm narration, like Jason Schwartzman narration. Are we going to get an episode of Alien Earth narrated by, I don't know, like Billy Bob Thornton or something? Like that's
Right.
that's where I'm
Don't tell me
wondering.
what a good
Like,
time. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely Darren, you have you had a chance to watch ahead, or are you
no, I'm watching live. I'm watching live.
Okay,
Ah.
gotcha. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. Yeah, I'll definitely still be watching.
I think they're right now right now they are setting up good questions. And my worry is that they are going to drag their feet in answering them and continue, where a lot of kind of prestige television goes, and just dragging their feet and treadmilling. But they are setting up some really interesting questions, and I just hope that they answer them in unique ways.
We call it losting. And let me tell you, only one show is allowed to lost, and that was Lost.
Marty, I am with you. We are both big Lost heads here. I will defend Lost. But it did burn me a little bit.
Sure. So you know what? Sometimes those who love us the most hurt us the most. Think about that. A bunch of super chats came in related to this, so we'll go over them. And remember, your super chats right now are we have funded Adventures Night Season 5, which is phenomenal. Thank you so much to everyone who's already donated for that. That is wonderful.
Gotcha.
And we added on like a little stretch goal to film an auxiliary one shot that Jack has had in mind for a while that would need to be in person, right? That is like a physical, tactile
a
one shot.
Special stipulation that in order to shoot, everyone knows that our first one shot is Balatro themed. We have a second video game themed D&D one shot, but it needs to be in person, and we can't tell you anything more.
Because it's Banjo-Kazooie and we have to go to the zoo. we need to have a bear and a large red bird.
So I was gonna say, do the players know before you reveal what it is? Because it sounds kind of Saw-esque. It's like you need to come to this garage. Yeah.
It's Banjo-Kazooie, and we have to play on each other's shoulders like we're chicken fighting.
Oh my God, that sounds great. Holy shit.
One of you's in the other backpack, yeah.
That sounds amazing. I just really like that Darren knows what Banjo-Kazooie is. That makes me happy. I feel bad that Darren knows what Banjo-Kazooie is, and I don't know what the movie you guys watched is. Like, that makes me feel like I'm bad at doing my job.
Wow.
It is not comparable to Banjo-Kazooie, to be clear.
Like, how many movies were released on streaming last week? You can't catch them all, Marty. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what
That's a Pokemon reference.
You know what?
I
Ash
got
was
that.
able to do it. Ah, shit, he did it. He did the Pokemon thing before I could do the Pokemon thing. Thank you so much for $5 dono. Said Darren, token dono for continuing the token segment on your podcast. And yes, Summer League was super over by the time the episode aired. Is this basketball, NBA Summer League?
This is NBA. This is Andrew trying to continue our Summer League coverage into a period of the podcast that was more planned in advance than what we were doing in the middle of the summer. So yeah, he covered Summer League on the 24th of August, I think was when we released the episode. So very fresh, very current, a lot of hot takes.
Sure.
The best part of that was when he was convinced the Pacers had it. I think 5 weeks after the Pacers did not have it.
Sure. Yeah. I like the idea of being like, oh, I'm gonna binge watch sports from a couple years ago because I never watched The West Wing, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna watch all of the NBA seasons from the late '90s.
Keep in line with this podcast I'm watching, where they do a 2-minute segment at the start of every episode.
I love that. Darren? What do you think is the best basketball movie ever made?
Ooh,
Jack,
that's interesting.
do you have a favorite basketball movie?
Basketball,
like a Hoosiers, a Space Jam, Blue
Slam
Chips,
Dunk Ernest,
Slam Dunk Ernest.
I mean, like, are there that many great ones? I mean, White Men Can't Jump is the one that comes to mind. I'm like, I haven't watched that since the mid '90s, and I don't know if I want to.
Hoosiers is great.
What's the Trainwreck has a nice basketball bit at the end of it, I guess.
There was that good Adam Sandler's last good dramatic role was in that movie where he was like a scout, a basketball scout, NBA scout. I forgot the movie was called, with Queen Latifah.
I keep confusing that with the one where Ben Affleck is the alcoholic who's like a football coach. Isn't that The Way Back?
No, he's a basketball coach, I think, right?
Oh, fantastic. The Way Back it is.
That was a good one. Yeah, Hustle was the Adam Sandler one. The Ben Affleck one was like The Way Back.
Way Back? It was The Way Back. It was The Way Back. Yeah. Not to be confused with The Way Back, which is obviously the sequel when they get even more into basketball.
My favorite basketball movie is Kevin Bacon's The Air Up There, in which he goes to Africa to scout basketball players.
I love it.
It's probably way more racist than
No one rewatch it. No one rewatch it. Just like Ace Ventura, just let it live there. Don't rewatch it with a modern eye.
I love, by the way, that I was like, I'm worried that White Men Can't Jump might be dated, and Jack is like, no.
Oh, no. There's a worse one, I'm sure.
The episode of Police Squad where they have like the basketball interrogation is one of my favorite basketball scenes. There we go. Yeah.
Oh my God, you'd ask. Says Alien 3. Was that Sigourney Weaver throwing the ball?
No, it's Alien Resurrection. Yeah. It's Resurrection.
She actually makes the shot, and like Ron Perlman's reaction is like kept in the movie of like, holy shit.
Yeah. Or the X-Files episode Paper Heart, where Mulder interrogates a child sex offender by playing basketball with him.
How have I not seen? Did they remove that one from television circulation?
That's the one with Tom Noonan, the big tall guy who gets into Mulder's head. Maybe it's Scully is talking to him when he's playing basketball, but the start of it, Mulder's playing basketball.
I think the problem is I'm always playing a game when the X-Files is on in the background, and so I maybe don't even know they're playing basketball. Maybe the basketball bouncing noises aren't loud enough for me.
I do love the idea of like Marty watching the X-Files going, this Toombs guy, I don't know why they're making such a big deal of him. He doesn't sound that big a deal. Scully seems like she has a perfectly rational explanation. I'm not going to look at the TV.
Man, let me tell you, watching late X-Files and going right into Peacemaker, I'm like, Robert Patrick, you diabolical. What a man!
You skipped like Scorpion, or was he also at FBI as well?
I hadn't seen him in anything since the late X-Files, and then all of a sudden he's just Peacemaker's dad.
He's less racist
this season. Not this season, seemingly after one episode, less racist. Oh no, is he going to be racist? Oh no, he's going to be racist.
That's probably. That's probably going to be the twist. Come on.
I kind of feel a little bit like you going, he's less racist when all he has done is sit in a room and read a book, and you're like, no racism detected. I think we're all good here.
He's a good dad. He seems like he touched his son's earlobe, but like in a nice, nice way. Sorry, that was one super chat. Quintuple A is back with $2. Listen, we're gonna have a nice tight show. Jack has to get another stream afterwards. Quintuple's back with another $2 dono. Thank you so much. Favorite
we have
empty
2 items
calorie.
On the agenda, by the way.
We do. Well, and that movie that I've never heard of, and I'm very excited to know what it's about.
Yeah, we're gonna do a solid hour on that. Yeah.
Favorite empty calorie movie of the summer?
This summer or any summer?
I mean, this summer. I feel like we've
this summer's
talked about
F1,
I
think, right?
No,
F1
that's got calories. That's got like eyeball calories, right?
Okay, all right. Fireworks.
No,
I think you call them fireworks, Marty.
Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch for the best empty calorie movie this summer is K-pop Demon Hunters.
Good call.
It's a movie
that's both too good. Are those both too good to be empty calorie movies? I don't want to litigate what an empty calorie.
It's a great movie. I really enjoyed K-pop Demon Hunters. I listened to the soundtrack just while I'm out and about. I think it's wonderful, but it's not necessarily making me think too hard.
Sure.
And I think by design, you know.
And Darren, you mentioned one of the news stories this week was they released K-pop Demon Hunters in theaters one day.
Yeah.
And it was non-AMC
as well, I believe.
Yeah, and it was in like across like 1,000, 1,500 theaters in the US, wasn't at AMC theaters, and I believe it was the #1 movie of the weekend.
Yeah.
At the US box office. So Netflix, what if you put your movies in theaters?
But like, this is not news to anybody. Like, the same thing happened with Glass Onion when they released that for a week and it made shed loads of money. And like, they have like Netflix have a history of not reporting their box office information. In fact, like, this was only like retroactively the highest grossing movie of the weekend because apparently Netflix dragged their feet on announcing its box office earnings for, I suspect, the reasons that you're getting at, which is like, if you announce those earnings, there will be a drive to be like, why don't you put more of that in cinemas? And the reason you don't put more of that in cinemas is because Netflix have like an ideological reason for wanting to destroy theaters. Like, there is a point where it is not a financial motivation. It is a like ideological, like, we need to prove that our method works and we need to drive streaming into the ground. We don't want a profit share. We want complete control of the environment. And that is what Netflix are doing. So I do not see this making a difference in terms of their long-term strategy. But yeah, it is wild that people want to see movies and they want to see them in theaters and they're just going straight to streaming. Big announcement was that Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is getting a limited theatrical run.
That's
which is
nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
The thing that I hate is like, I think highest to lowest is currently has a limited theatrical run, and none of them are in Madison. I'm like, why the fuck can it? Let me see this movie.
You've reached the point where like A24 are passively aggressively retweeting at Apple about like how their hands have been tied in distributing this movie, and it's not even released over here in Ireland or the UK yet. It'll get a small release over here in a couple of weeks, I think, as well. But there's been no effort to make it available to press over here. It is insane. Like, that is one of our great living filmmakers who, like, within
that is the new Spike Lee movie starring Denzel Washington, a remake of one of Akira Kurosawa's best movies. Like,
yes. And like, it isn't like Spike Lee is in the doldrums. He got like a Best Picture nomination like within like the past 10 years. Like, he's a big name. He's a big auteur. And the reviews for this seem to be pretty good. My favorite review of this, and I have not yet seen the movie, but I do love it, is like, the second half asks an important question: what if Megalopolis was good? And I'm like, you have me.
So, right. Now I'm intrigued. I literally can't imagine that. I literally can't imagine
so central to the identity of Megalopolis.
It's not being good. And
it's
also,
like, what if Air Bud wasn't about a dog? It's like,
wait.
I'm gonna cheat for empty calorie thing. It's a TV show, but it's from this year, Paradise. Paradise is one of those shows I loved watching. And that's the one about the bunker with what's his face, Sterling K. Brown. Yeah, Sterling K. Brown. Yeah, yes. Where at
the end of the first episode they play Another Day in Paradise, so that you remember the name of the show you're watching.
That is the subtext is for cowards. I just want you to know. That is my favorite empty calorie thing. I'm not even gonna say what it's about because figuring out what that show is about is part of the joy of it. I think I did say the word bunker. But
you did kind of say the word.
You don't know. Maybe I use bunker as a euphemism. Maybe it's about a golf bunker. Happy Gilmore 2 was about bunkers.
Yeah. The entire 8-episode season takes place inside a bunker. Sterling K. Brown has to remember his entire life every time he hits onto the green.
That's not a bad golf movie. 18 flashbacks. Every hole reminds. It's almost like a Slumdog Millionaire kind of thing.
Oh my god!
And he learns a life lesson in each of those flashbacks that gets him out of the. There we go.
I have like a script treatment that I wrote like 12 years ago about a war vet who comes home and in order to deal with his PTSD builds a miniature golf course, and each hole kind of represents the way he builds it represents something he's trying to get out of his body. And let me tell you, I don't want to revisit that one. That one's probably not good. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I should be writing about war vets and PTSD.
Did you go to like Welcome to Marwan and go, you bastard stole my idea?
Did it? You sons of bitches!
Pulled it off. Robert Zemeckis pulled it off. He made it real.
Sons of bitches. Super chat number 3. Nita Ram, the $20 dono. Thank you so much, Nita Ram. Saw Weapons because of your recommendations, and I really loved it. I loved its chaptered, multi-perspective style where each POV revealed new info and advanced the story. What other films / shows use a similar narrative structure? We mentioned Magnolia as being like a direct inspiration, at least for that kind of segmented thing. Although Magnolia does ping pong back and forth between them, as opposed to sort of solidly
segmenting them linearly.
Yeah. I mean,
there is a show.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts. The
Lost.
movie.
Lost is actually a pretty good
Lost.
example of this.
I
Actually,
didn't want to say it. I was waiting for
does
someone else to say it.
pretty darn well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There was a recent, I want to say, HBO show. Maybe I'm thinking of this first season of Westworld, where it takes an episode by someone's from someone's perspective and kind of helps highlight the whole thing. It might be Westworld. It might be something else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Watchmen might have done that.
maybe Watchmen.
and used to do every second episode, like the comic did. Every second issue was a character-centric issue.
Yeah,
so the show
It
every
was,
second.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there
Kaleidoscope
are
on
some
Netflix
shows.
does something similar, but it's very bad. That's
That's
the one
right,
where it's you watch it in
Kaleidoscope.
any order. Yeah, and I say very bad. It's fine, but it's like you watch it and you're like, this should be amazing. This should be such a slam dunk concept. It's a heist TV show starring Giancarlo Esposito that is told non-linearly. Any two of those ingredients should be a 4-star project. All three of them together should be a masterpiece. You're like, it's fine. It's like, it's
It's totally fine.
adequate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Nidoram. Philip Kelton, thank you so much for the dono. Feels like Alien, the Disney ride for teens to me. Yeah, Philip, I saw a couple of people feel that way, and it doesn't feel that way to me, but I don't know. Everyone reads things differently.
Yeah. It's obviously we just kind of explain our feelings on it. We're not here to tell you how to feel about it. But I think I can understand that sentiment, and I can, like I said, from my perspective, I can only hope it kind of finds its own unique voice within this universe. Because I'm kind of with you that for me, I don't feel that unique voice yet, but I can see it winding up. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Double Finger, thank you so much for a €5 dono. You like Alien Earth now, but just wait for CG Lance Hendrickson to drink the black goo to transform into the Proto Queen after saying "Game over, man." Can I ban someone for putting that out into the ether? Don't put that negative energy out into the world.
Noah Hawley, watching the stream, picks up the phone and says, "Look, I know we already locked on the 8th episode, but I think I have Lance Henriksen's number." It's like we don't actually need his number. It's we can do this all digitally.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say. Like, as someone who is obviously not as sold on the series as Darren and Marty, nothing even close to that happens in Alien Earth. No,
I would
no
honestly be
hint.
surprised if that happened.
Yes.
Just the way they're going seems
like in Romulus, there was the get away from her bitch sequence, which everyone hated. Nobody liked that.
Yeah.
The entire Ian Holm insists that Prometheus definitely still happens sequence, which as somebody who loves Prometheus, even I was rolling my eyes at that. It's like, you don't need to validate my movie, guys.
Right. So what I can say, a very positive thing about Alien Earth is nothing close to any of those things happens in Alien Earth.
Just a couple of frames of Ice Age. That's all. And that's fine. That's funny. We don't get a lot of movies with a couple of frames of Ice Age.
I like that you say that like there are plenty of movies that have too many frames of Ice Age, plenty of movies that have no Ice Age.
I would say the Ice Age films have too many frames of Ice Age, and then every other movie has no frames of Ice Age, but very few movies have a few frames of Ice Age.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Serving the lice in your beverage, yeah.
Charno, thank you so much for the €10 dono. I lament the fact that the Alien franchise has been given over to specialists in retreading, like Alvarez and Hawley. To me, Alien Earth was a bland exercise in corporate extension. I hope this franchise dies. Sorry, I didn't know. It was DI3. Apparently you can't write dies in a super chat, which is probably good. It's
probably
nice.
for the best, yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't respectfully disagree. I could see the Alvarez very devoted to the Alien that came before him, even though I was lukewarm to somewhat positive on Romulus, barring a lot of those things that we've complained about in the past. But this doesn't
and
feel...
in this episode as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The past, 25 seconds ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I disagree that this film, or so far, it seems like they're doing something different. But I guess by the end of 8 episodes, I think it'll be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Miss Harmony with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, Miss Harmony. Darren, an all superb sci-fi is an Aniara from 2018. To be fair, apparently. I've never heard of Aniara.
Okay. I have nor have I.
Aniara.
Oh, interesting. Okay, adding that to the list.
Yeah, I like. I
looks great.
like a big red circle with lines coming.
I
through
know, it's
it
very
on the
Hal.
poster.
It's very Hal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Swedish and Danish.
Danish. Nice.
Those are nice
Alright.
countries.
We got it. Hey, you know what? You got a tab open on all of us. Here we go.
Yeah, so I think you've got us. Okay, perfect.
That is a poster that sells a movie. That
Yeah,
big
that's a
red
very
dot
good
and all the
poster.
lines.
Yeah, it's a great poster.
Not that
Eric,
poster.
see if you
Eric's
can
showing a
find the
bad
red
poster.
dot. Yeah, that
There,
one.
look
Look
at
at that.
There's
we
that
go.
poster.
What is that?
Do you think this is
I wanna know
about?
more.
Right? Do you think there's a pregnancy metaphor? Because that kind of looked like a little sperm going into the egg.
Oh.
Ah,
Do you see that? No?
Oh.
a little
We'll
bit.
see. We'll see.
Okay.
Darren
I
doesn't
do
think
love,
it
by
looks
the way,
a
that we're
sperm
like,
egg.
I love that you're like, by the way, let's get a poster that actually shows the actual. No, go back to the abstract one. Abstract.
Go,
one.
get out of there!
Yeah.
What's in the sperm egg?
We're like, yeah.
CSI Freak, thank you so much. A $2 dono. Champions is my favorite basketball movie. Don't know that one either.
Is that the Bob Farley, the one who's not Peter Farley, the one who didn't win the Oscar for Green Book? The movie starring Woody Harrelson about coaching a special needs team? Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yes.
remember. I watched that one with my mom. My mom loves that movie. I feel like moms love this movie.
Was it
It's-
heartwarming? Was it heartwarming?
It was heartwarming. My
Yeah.
mom works with a bunch of special needs kids. So she
Ah.
loves movies. Yeah.
Lovely.
There you go.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's right. It's the lesser Fairly.
Yes. Well, I mean, to be fair, I would also argue it's maybe the one who is playing in his lane. Where like
That is
I have
true.
my
He's not
I have
green
my
booking.
issues. That's it. I have my issues with Champions. But it is like not under any circumstances attempting to win an Oscar. There's no moment where you watch this and think this is the start of Woody Harrelson's Oscar campaign, which I think is kind of to the movie's credit, as opposed to Green Book, where Green Book is fine, but it's the bit where it's like, give me all of the Oscars. You're like, okay, calm down, Green Book.
Yeah.
Calm
Right,
down.
settle down, Green Book. It's weird how many acting siblings end up doing kind of their own things. We have
Or
the
directing
Coens right
siblings,
now. We have the or directing siblings. Excuse me. Yeah, the Safdies. Yeah, the Wachowskis. But I guess only Lana.
No. Lily did a TV show for a while. She did her own TV show for a while before she retired completely.
What was it called? Sense8?
No. They did
No,
Sense8
they
together.
did that
And I think
together,
Lana, I think, finished Sense8. But Lily did her own like micro budget thing. It's not baskets, but it reminds me of baskets. Give me a second. I'll go to the fact machine and check this.
Baskets with Louis Anderson?
Yeah, no, that it reminded me of that. I know it's not that.
Jack,
Sorry,
you a
2
big
seconds.
Life with Louis fan?
I remember Life with Louis. I remember Baskets just because that's Zach Galifianakis and Louis Anderson.
No, it reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah.
Work in progress. Yeah, work in progress. That's what it's called. It's work in
okay.
progress.
Work.
I thought it was
Sorry.
I thought it was literally a work in progress. I was like, how have you seen this then? But no, it's titled Work in Progress, which is
Titled Work in Progress. It was a Showtime TV show. Ran for 2 seasons, but that was, I believe, what Lily was working on. Because obviously Lana works on Lana works on Matrix. I think Lana finishes Sense8, I think, by herself. I'm not entirely sure on that one, but like Lily, who kind of announces her retirement, does do this TV show, which is worth shouting out because it does get kind of forgotten. Even I had forgotten the name of it, and I feel bad about that.
Yeah, Showtime tends to do that.
Paramount Plus, right? It's the start of Paramount Plus, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, CSI Freak. Sussy Guru with a €5 dono. Thank you so much. Have any of you... that works out well. Oh, no. I thought that said Animatrix. Shit, it doesn't work out well. Sussy Guru, thank you so... No. It works out fine. Sussy Guru, this is a great...
It's the roller coaster. The roller coaster.
I looked at Asterix
We're
miniseries
We're
on
in.
Netflix, and I saw the Animatrix. I was like, this has got to be the Animatrix. And then if you watch the recent Asterix miniseries on Netflix. Asterix is like a big thing, not in America, right? Asterix and Obelix.
Big thing in Europe, particularly in France. And again, I like the French are incredible, where they will pump out like 4 or 5 of these movies a year. That's maybe an exaggeration, but they'll do them incredibly regularly, and they'll always be like, "Oh yeah, Marion Cotillard is appearing in the new Asterix movie." You're like, really? But I have not seen this. I would have read a couple of the annuals when I was a kid. I like when we went to France. When we went to France as children and we used to go to Euro Disney, we would also go to Park Asterix, which was like the local French run. Yeah, it's great. And like this is the thing where like obviously Euro Disney has like the spending of a massive multinational corporation behind it, so it's all like completely paved and it's all got buildings and stuff and it's got performers in costumes. Looks really expensive. Park Asterix where we went was like basically like dirt. It was like they hadn't quite paved the entire park when we were there. I remember the rides being actually great because the rides were like properly, there we go, we get some photos from Eric, thank you very much. But like we had like actual scary rides because the Disney rides are very like safe and very, obviously they're designed for kids and stuff, but the Asterix ones, yeah, they used to have like, I remember having loop-de-loops and stuff, which few of the Disney park ones did. So I always had a huge soft spot for Park Asterix. So thank you very much. I haven't watched the TV show though.
I always lump Asterix in with stuff like Moomin, and then even what's the thing I hate?
Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit. That's all that. It's all that European shit. I don't know anything about that.
With the question of what's the thing I hate, Marty, you have no idea the Rolodex of things I had to go through.
Aaron got it immediately. I feel like there's only been one thing I continually bring up as disliking on this podcast, and it's
I mean, I also did get it from context of like non-American thing Marty hates. Probably European, not specifically continental. Like
they're making a Pokemon. They're making a Pokemon now. That's, I gotta get on board.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know anything about Moomin though. I'm not gonna indulge in Moomin.
Nah, you're fine.
Gelden, thank you so much for $5 dono. Aliens has always been horror with sci-fi. Oh, to me, Aliens has always been horror with sci-fi trappings. When they try to do sci-fi forward to validate it, it feels vestigial. I mean, Alien very much started off as horror, but then I feel like quickly became more than that with Cameron, right?
I think the problem with that argument, Gelden, is we got one proper horror movie, and by the time we get to Aliens, it's already kind of not a horror movie.
Yeah,
it's more actiony or whatever.
Right.
I mean there are elements of horror. It's got the face,
of course, sure,
but yeah, it is more action forward, I think. Yeah,
right. And so it's like by number 2, 2 does not make a pattern. 1 definitely doesn't make a pattern. So it's kind of always been this slightly horror, slightly sci-fi thing. Obviously, like as a big fan of horror, I like in the grand Alien versus Aliens debate, I will fall on the side of Alien, but I also like an action sci-fi. So it is what it is. I'm sorry.
I'm a 2 cake guy. I like both Alien and Aliens. I'm greedy. I'm like, give me
a little bit of both.
Yeah, I'm like,
exactly.
You know what? If you're throwing in Alien 3, put that in there too. And Alien Resurrection, well, I guess it's nice to have 4 of these, so why not?
You have a basketball scene in a movie. That's always
I do like the one with all the tanks. That's a fun room when she goes in the room with all the tanks. That's great.
And
Chekhov's power lifter.
Exactly. And then Polio, thank you so much, over in Ko-Fi, said 0 calories 2025 movie recommendation, Novocaine. Great fun, but I already have no memory of it. I enjoyed my time with Novocaine, and also
Novocaine, yeah.
I was really charmed by Novocaine. Yeah, I went in. I missed it in theaters, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah,
100%.
No, Jack Quaid, one of the great nepos. The lead in the show, Wendy, is Kyle Chandler's daughter.
Yes. What? And she refused to do publicity. Yep, she's Kyle Chandler's daughter, and she refused to do publicity for it, which is really interesting. And I kind of like support. I think it's really interesting to see the interview where it's like, so when we were doing our variety cover story, Timothy Oliphant, Noah Hawley were like, we don't think it's a great idea for 2 dudes to be on the cover of your Alien story. But but Sidney Chandler was like, I don't really want to do publicity. And I admire that, like as a pitch, as a power move of just being like, you know what, not really my thing. Don't really want to do. I'm an actor. I've acted. What more do you want? Yeah,
there you go.
Fair.
Great stuff. All right. We got another super chat coming, but let's move over to Peacemaker. This is, we only had one episode of Peacemaker season 2 that has released. I will say right off the bat, Peacemaker is one of those shows that I forgot how much I enjoyed it until it came back. And I fear I'm going to watch this season and then immediately forget how much I enjoy it until whatever comes next. It's kind of like The Boys in that regard, to where when it's here, I'm like, hell yeah. And then when it's gone, it's just like I have no memory of it. But
I think
Darren, I know you're
appeal,
extremely
though, right?
high on Peacemaker, at least season 1. What did you think of this?
I did. I mean, I love season 1. I think season 1 is one of the great like superhero shows, up there with like Watchmen, up there with Legion, which we've already covered, up there with Batman the Animated Series. Just one of the shows that captures things that I love about the genre and does it so incredibly well. Manages to do stuff that like I love Gunn doing as a filmmaker. It's indulging in all of his core themes, where he's dealing with everything from, you know, bad dads, like childhood anxieties, through to like weighty themes about like modern masculinity. It's one of the great shows about like the state of modern American masculinity, and it's anchored in a set of like really great performances. But Cena is incredible. Like Cena is a revelation. Was it the Hollywood Reporter Variety put out their story where they ranked like the best wrestlers turned actor, and I think they put Dave Bautista at 1, which is objectively the correct decision.
Yeah,
but they put The Rock at 2 and Cena at 3, and I'm like, no,
that's bullshit.
Yeah, Cena is incredible here. Like, and everything comes from.
Although maybe they saw the Smashing Machine and are like, "Ooh, he can actually act." Yeah.
I do love that it's going to be like Timothée Chalamet versus The Rock for Best Actor this year.
Both of the Safdies like chose their champion in combat, and it's like Tyrion. It's like Tyrion versus the mountain or whatever it was. Yeah.
Like I mean, I know this is a bad thing to say now after all the AI24 news that came out over the past 24 hours, but like A24 should absolutely release a fighting game where you can choose your champion, and one of them is like Marty Supreme and the other one is the Smashing Machine. But like to talk more about Peacemaker, though, it is incredible, and like it is a show that is funny, thoughtful, inventive, and it is clearly cheap enough that like Gunn can do whatever he wants with it. Gunn is a smart enough producer, a smart enough writer, a smart enough director, and he also works with other directors who are also very smart about like using budget in such a way that he can do whatever he wants without having to worry about oversight. This is the equivalent of what like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg do at like Sony with their comedies, which is like, what is the amount of money I can make this for where nobody will give me a note? And like Peacemaker 2 is going to put my hand up here and say I have seen the first 5 episodes of it. I'm not going to spoil any of that, obviously. It is like really fun, really sweet, really charming. To your point about like forgetting how much I love the show, I rewatched the first season to get ready for this, so I was very much in the space of, oh yeah, I remember how great this show is. And I found myself, again, just really emotionally invested in these characters in a way that I didn't expect to be, in a way that even having seen the first season, I didn't entirely expect to be, because of course the thing with Gunn is that he's funny, he's wry, he's cynical, he's arch. There's a sense, there can be a sense of smugness sometimes to how he writes these characters, a bit of self-awareness, a bit of joking. But like all of these characters are fully formed, all these characters are complex, all these characters have like emotional journeys and arcs that I follow them on. And it does, to me, feel like a show that is about stuff as well as just being about like how great superheroes are as a genre. Like the thing I love about Peacemaker is how much fun it has with like being a silly comic book TV show where, you have Justice League auditions with the White Rabbit, a character who I never thought would appear in live action media for very obvious reasons when you see her costume, but the show puts her in there. But it also
that's an actual character, the one who maybe who came out crying from the audition.
Yes, she is a Batman villain created, I believe, by David Finch, I think, around about 2011.
David Fincher?
But no, David Finch.
Okay, sorry.
It'd be great if David Fincher just on the side like created Batman villains, where he's just like,
got an idea for one kind of horny Batman villain. That's all I want to do.
You guys do what you want with it. That's the idea out there. I'm gonna make like it takes me 10 years to make a movie, but I'm just banging out Batman villain ideas. But I think what I love about like to get to that comic bookness though is that it manages to do the thing which is incredible, which is to use the cliches of comic book storytelling to tell a story that is still emotionally resonant and still works in terms of character, where a lot of the publicity and debate around this season is the question of like where it falls in continuity. Because obviously Gunn is now in charge of the larger DCU. He's rebooted it. He's erased the Snyderverse, if that ever existed, but he's erased the previous DCU. Although again, that's more like unplugging a life support machine, because was that even a shared universe by the end of it and all this sort of stuff, right? And as an observer, I don't care about any of that because I've read comics long enough to know the key is that the comic is good, right?
Yeah.
Continuity doesn't matter. There are always going to be reboots. There are always going to be retcons. There are always going to be rewrites. There's always going to be messiness. Like if you are a comic book fan and you follow these things long enough, eventually somebody's going to have to reset something and it's not going to make sense, and that's fine. What I found I really loved about like the second season, the first episode in particular, is that it is kind of about this idea of where does Peacemaker fall in the context of this like rebooted DC continuity, but not like in a we're managing the IP sort of way, in a way that a lot of multiverse stories like say Spider-Man No Way Home or Deadpool and Wolverine are, where it's like, look at all this cool stuff the corporation bought and we get to play with. Instead, this becomes I am at this stage in my life. I'm not where I want to be. It feels like the world around me is not what I thought the world around me would be, and I'm not sure that it has a place for me anymore. And that is an incredibly resonant story that works for any character in any context that you could tell outside the context of we've just rebooted a comic book universe around you, but ends up being used by this TV show to like imbue Peacemaker with like humanity and depth and complexity, where this story kind of works the way that it does because you understand that he is a relic from a world that doesn't really exist anymore, and there is no place for him in the modern like comic book context. And I'm like, that is just really clever emotional storytelling that manages to use all this stuff that could just be noise, that could be confusing, that could be academic, that could be self-aware, to like make me invest in who this guy is, what he wants, and like what he's about. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, Jack, did you get a chance to watch the episode?
Oh yeah, watch it. I often when I get talking about things that I love with friends who know that I'm a big movie TV nerd. I constantly point to season 1 of Peacemaker as possibly the greatest superhero adaptation in the past 5-10 years. It is just it's Peacemaker season 1 is that rare superhero property where the hero actually has a character arc, and that never happens in comic books. And it felt fresh, it felt different, it felt like they really wanted to tell a story, and they did. So the interesting thing to me about Peacemaker season 2 is the problem with expectations. Going into the first one, you have zero expectations because this is a throwaway joke character from a movie that no one watched except for me and Darren. A movie that I love, by the way. The Suicide Squad. I truly, truly love.
The is very important there, to be clear, but yes. It's a load-bearing the.
It is. It's a load-bearing the. And so there were no expectations, and so you can come into it and if it's just good, you are excited. And it was great, so you're extra excited. But now I have expectations, and it did not disappoint me, but it also, from my opinion, did not ramp anything up. Some of the characters slid back a little bit. We've lost a little bit of that character development we got in season 1. And so to me, that makes me shudder a little bit, going, oh no, this is just comic book now, where they're going to keep sliding back and growing and sliding back and growing. And I like my characters to grow throughout a series. That being said, it's fun. It like, if you like season 1, you will like this. I liked it, but I'm much like Alien Earth, I'm just kind of whelmed and concerned.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning a little closer to Jack. I really enjoyed this first episode. It did very much feel like let's get everyone situated again. Like because maybe for a lot of people, this was one of those series where it's like, it doesn't feel like people kept talking about it afterwards, so you kind of forgot a lot of the details of it. And so I kind of needed to be like regrounded on, okay, yeah, at the end of the first season, like Amanda Waller's daughter shared all the secrets, so she's probably like unable to get a job, or one of the was it her daughter, or was it the main lady?
I think it was her daughter.
And that like where everyone is set after that first season, and then checking in on all the characters and being like, okay. Like, it very much felt like a table setting episode with the wrench thrown in of, this is going to be about some, like a lot of superhero stories, this is going to be a multiversal story, but it seems like it's going to be focused on one multiverse, which is nice. Or is that how it works? Multiverse. Can you single
a universe? Yes.
Which at a superficial level seems like a perfect universe for Peacemaker. Although some people are claiming maybe they are still racist. There's no way to know. There's good folks on both sides of this.
I mean, like without getting into spoilers, like you have a single scene of like the alternate version of Augie Smith in this episode. It feels a bit much to like just generalize to, well, he's not racist anymore.
He wasn't racist in that scene.
Well,
What
and I
we
guess,
want?
you know,
When I met David Duke, he seemed perfectly nice.
This is David Duke. This is David Duke too.
I'm about to say he literally calls himself the White Dragon. I'm like,
Well, maybe it's
Harvey
Yu-Gi-Oh thing in
Weinstein
this
was
universe.
really nice to me that one time I met him.
This is we're currently in Schrodinger. This is Schrodinger's racism right now. As of right now, who knows? He's both racist and not racist. We'll see next week.
But what I will say, like in terms of
go ahead.
multiverse, in terms of multiverse, like the ending of the episode, without getting into spoilers, if I remember correctly, the cliffhanger of the first episode is like the inciting incident for the entire season, but is also like just a perfect expression of like things you can use the multiverse for to tell a character-driven story, where like Peacemaker does something that is obviously tied to the multiverse, Darren says, to keep it broad and general and non-spoilery, but also tells you so much about who he is and how he feels and what is motivating him in a way that is like just a really clever use of a concept that often feels like it is just a cameo or IP machine, which I really liked about this about the show. Yeah.
And I agree with that. I do think like this is going to be again a fun exploration of the greater theme of like, you know, Peacemaker wanting to be something that maybe he's not, maybe something he can't be, right? And I think it's going to be fun. Though from again, I've only seen the one episode. From the one episode I've seen, it also feels like a story that I know how I can see all the beats already. And again, that goes back to that expectation thing where for season one, they could have done anything because they could have done anything. No one cared about Peacemaker. But here I can see the rom-com-esque beats.
Sure, you can almost see he's going to become infatuated with this alternate universe, and then his friends from the Prime world are going to have to like pull him back and be like, no, reality, you belong in this reality, even with warts and all.
And knowing
Almost
Gunn,
as if it's a metaphor for the internet, which is a big recurring theme of Gunn's other big superhero movie this year.
Well, no, and I trust, like with this IP in particular, I trust Gunn enough as a writer and as a creator to do something fun within that. And also, in general, I love rom-coms, mostly because I know the beats and I just get to watch all the pretty people kiss. And you know, in episode 1, season 2 of Peacemaker, we see a lot of people kissing.
There's a lot of people kissing.
I was like, really, as somebody who puts his hands up and say wasn't a huge fan of Gunn's Superman, I was like blown away by how much the first episode of Peacemaker was like, still got it. Not sold out at all. Like it's like, just so we're clear, I am still the same guy that I was before I took the job directing Superman. And I'm like, this is the most reassured I have ever felt watching what I'm watching on screen. It's like, this is oddly comforting in a way.
Right.
Jack,
It
as
was
our
like,
resident floppy dong reporter, anything from the front lines here regarding floppy dong?
I mean, like I said, I loved season 1 of Peacemaker, and so far season 2 is still on that level. The problem with expectations is I'm slightly disappointed that it's only still great.
But the floppy dong, there's a lot of floppy dong though.
There was a ton of floppy dong.
Yeah.
You gotta divide that by the number of episodes, though. You gotta divide it by 8 episodes. So I mean, it's not really that many floppy dongs, Marty. When you figure it out that way. Yeah.
Also, this is real shitty of me, and this is real petty of me, but the new opening dance number isn't as cool.
Agreed. This is my Dan to Dan thing, where it's like there's nothing wrong with the new ones, but they're following up legitimate all-timers. And I'm like, you're destined to fail. Like you just shouldn't have changed. You just should have kept the same opening from season 1.
Yeah.
Screw you, Tim Meadows. You don't get to be in the credits now.
You can put a little Tim Meadows in the corner. I like him.
Like just like a CGI him dancing in the background.
Like the little shitty dancing baby from Ally McBeal.
Yeah, very, very obvious like cuts to Timothy Meadows. But
or use the same song and just have a new dance number to the same song. But like the song isn't as good, the dance isn't as good. That's real shitty and petty of me, admittedly.
No, well, it's fair. It does open the show. It's a fair grounds for criticism. You're gonna have to watch this every week for 8 weeks, unless you hit that skip intro button.
It's gone from a never skip to I will skip every episode now.
Oh.
Kind of.
I don't need to see that intro ever again. I saw it once.
All right.
I feel like it sounds like I'm really offended. I don't want anyone to print in the newspaper that I was mad about the intro. Just don't let anyone write that.
So you know what really convinces people that you're not mad, Marty? You stating very firmly that you're not mad.
I just want everyone to know I'm fine.
Please, I'm not mad.
And that people should not say that you're mad.
Don't let them say it. If you see a magazine where they report that I'm mad, like put them in the back, like hide them in the bathroom. Don't let anyone buy that. But yeah, I'm
gonna say put them to rest.
Put them to rest. Kill them. I'm intrigued, and I don't know how much you could talk. Clearly, Darren, from what you've seen, you've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it. I mean, look, Gunn has been quite public about the fact that there is something big in episode 6. He's not going to send out screeners for episode 6. So, I'm aware that, I have seen the season up to a point where I expect there to be a major twist or turn at some point in the season. Sure. Again, this isn't a spoiler. He was talking about this at, publicity for the first episode, where he was like, just so we're clear, there's something that happens in that episode, which is the favorite thing of mine that I've ever directed, which is an insane thing to say after you've directed Superman, a blockbuster in theaters this summer. Also along the lines of, I released Superman on digital early because Peacemaker is really important. The important thing is that people be able to watch Peacemaker, which I respect personally, but if I were David Zaslav, I don't know if I'd be on the same boat with.
I also don't think families should be gathering around watching Superman and being like, "Oh, there's a new series. Maybe it's like the Marvel series," and then all of a sudden the floppy dong appears.
They all connect to each other. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and just to talk about the opening credit sequence. Yes, you're right. I agree with you. Not as good as the first one. Also, the first one has the benefit of being the first time we had seen the show do that. And one of the first times I had seen a credit sequence like that or that committed to doing that. So it was mind blowing. I do think there is at least within listening to the lyrics of, is it it's Foxy Shazam, isn't it? But if you listen to the lyrics of the song, it does feel more appropriate to a story that is about the multiverse, which is there's always going to be a wrong to your right, and maybe in the morning you'll wake up satisfied. And it's I see what you're doing here thematically. I see you're setting me up to know that this is a show about a midlife crisis, Mr. James Gunn, who just turned 60?
James Gunn is not 60.
Let me double check that now. I should go to the fact. I should have checked that before I said it with such confidence.
He's 59.
He's 50. Oh, close enough.
I thought. I don't know what I thought. I was he's my age, but clearly he's not. He's 20 years older than me. I don't know why.
He's our age. He's just one of the guys.
I don't know. Yeah, he's got white hair. I don't know why. He looks young. I don't know.
He only recently went white as well.
Hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other young people have white hair. I don't think that's true. White anime characters have white hair.
There we go.
Timothy Oliphant in Alien Earth. He's probably only 2 or 3 years old at that point. Yeah. He's got white hair.
Is he? What's his deal? Is he a robot?
He's cursed. He's a robot. Of course, he's a robot. The alien doesn't try to eat him. The whole point is that the alien doesn't try to eat him because he's a robot. He is like Bishop. He's a synthoid.
Gotcha.
So he's and I like that the show is kind of ambiguous, where it's is he like Bishop and the nice android, or is he like Ash and a dangerous android?
Sure.
And it's I have no idea which he is, which is great.
Yeah. Why not both? A couple super chats that came in. Thank you so much. Zakawe with the €10 dono. Appreciate you. I love your work on the podcast. Jack and Marty, I already cherished through all your other work. Darren, you're in another realm. You're a gem. Sure. Please never stop with your various diatribes and rants.
I'm in a realm full of comic books. I hear that Marty has a mute button. He hasn't used it yet, though, which is good.
I wouldn't dare. I think I've literally told Jack in meetings about this podcast that my job is to just set up a conversation and then throw it to you two to be I just want to listen to what you guys have to say, which is beautiful. Which is favorite part of every 2 weeks.
When I did radio, they had they told me at the dump button, which is in radio stations, assume around the world, they have a button that will dump the previous 10 to 20 seconds of air in case anybody says something that they absolutely shouldn't. And it's just for the record, you will never need to use this. And if you do, it will sound horrible. But just so you're aware, There is a dump button. I love that it's called the dump button.
Yeah. Just in case one of the hosts ends up trying to defend the possible racism. Just in case tries to argue against the person who's seen half the season already and probably knows whether they're racist or not.
I didn't say that he was racist. I'm not the one throwing around labels here, Marty. Racist, non-racist.
Wow, Marty.
Would never. Robert Patrick would never. He's only played a good guy. He's definitely never played some sort of a villain that chases people.
Runs very distinctively. Apparently, like
he's so good at running.
I will say, like, you're a big X-Files fan. As like somebody who wrote a book on the X-Files, everybody who worked on the X-Files loved Robert Patrick so much. Like, it was like every story you talk to, every time you talk to them, they're like, he was an absolute soldier. Like, because obviously Duchovny and Anderson had like huge tension during the production of the show. And like, they talk very openly about this, where like Duchovny refused to like negotiate with Anderson to help her get her salary raise. So she had to negotiate separately and was always earning less than he was. And there was always this kind of push and pull between them where like she had a young family and she didn't have leverage because she wasn't a big star. And he instead was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to Hollywood. Why don't we just go where I want to go? And so there was this kind of like tension between the two during the production. They're friends now. They get on very, very well. And obviously, like, a high stakes TV production will drive anybody to each other's necks. But like when Patrick showed up, it's incredible because like everybody who worked at the show is like, yeah, everybody loved Robert Patrick. He was like, he was always around on set. He was always making conversation. He was always there when you needed him. He didn't go back to his trailer between takes. The actors like started hanging out and talking and having fun and joking. And like, there are really sweet interviews with him you read where like he's talking to Entertainment Weekly while they're filming the opening block of the 8th season when he takes over from Duchovny. And it's like, he does actually say to them, you know, just don't be too hard on me. I'd hate to be the reason that this show got canceled. And it's like, oh,
that's really sweet.
Somebody protect that sweet man.
Yeah, he's great. Definitely not racist in this show. In Peacemaker, though. I think we can all agree. Sussy Guru, the €5 dono. Thank you so much, Sussy Guru. I also didn't like Superman 2025 either. While I like Superman, the character in the movie that he's in is unfortunately profoundly stupid.
We don't need to reopen that debate.
Listen, I wasn't here that week, so
the lovely thing is we can all feel different about art because art is subjective.
Yeah, mileage varies, doctors differ, etc. etc.
Jack, did
Sorry,
you?
I hope that didn't sound dismissive. Sorry.
Did you have a preference, Jack, between Fantastic Four and Superman?
I think Superman is clearly the better movie. I thought Superman was significantly more interesting of a movie. I'm not even going to defend that it's profoundly stupid. I also think it's kind of stupid, but I think that was kind of the point of Superman, and I liked that about Superman. So I'm on teams. If we're doing team soups versus team fours, I'm in team soups all the way.
You want to know a hot take about Superman? I think there were too many scenes with the dog. Oh my God, that was there.
Marty. That was my exact hot take.
I think I love dogs. I like dogs in movies. I think there should have been like 3 fewer scenes with the dog.
Amazing.
We just pause and acknowledge that, like, despite the fact I'm the person who dislikes like Superman 2025 the most of the people on here, I'm like, this had precisely the right amount of crypto. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. Like, I was like, Marty, I went in so skeptical. I went in like so skeptical of crypto. I was like, I don't know if we need crypto in this movie. And at the end of it, I'm like, you know, crypto was the part of the movie that unequivocally worked for me.
Like verbatim, Marty, that was my opening swing for reviewing Superman was maybe too much crypto.
Maybe too much dog. Possibly too much dog. I rarely say that in a film. I usually like dog in movies.
Right?
I mean, when you say that, is John Wick the right amount of dog for you, to be fair?
But later on, he gets dog. He gets dog, and then him and Halle Berry use dog and fight, and those are nice. I like those.
And then he houses dog.
Then he houses dog. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or Game
of Thrones man killed his dog. There you go. I did also. I liked the Supergirl's entrance at the end. I like that she's like a hot mess. I think that's just going to be an interesting foil for a character. So we'll see.
I think I read something online recently that was rather interesting, which was looking at the movie. The reason why Superman wanted the dog back so bad was to protect anyone dying over the dog, because Supergirl absolutely would have killed people to get the dog
would have
back.
like destroyed the earth.
Exactly. And so like I do think that's a funny take.
Yeah.
I will say, like, one of the stranger things that I got from like Gunn talking about the movie was that like Superman moving heaven and earth to get Crypto back, like the bit where he has the conversation with Lois and he's like, welcome to re-legislating Superman 2025, by the way. But the bit where he says to Lois, you know, I need to go, I need to turn myself in because maybe that'll take me to Crypto. And she's like, he's just a dog. And he's like, yeah, but he's not even a good dog, but he's scared and alone. He needs somebody to help him. And like Gunn has talked about how like for him, that's what makes Superman like super heroic, is that like he would do this even for somebody else's dog. And I'm sitting there going, I would like to think that most people I house a dog with like would not let it get abducted by like black site operatives, and if it did happen on their watch would feel some measure of responsibility for it. It's like I don't feel like that's an exceptional level of heroism of like, oh, my cousin asked me to babysit her dog and it got captured by a billionaire. Guess who's got to sort that out?
Aaron, that's where the bar is set. The bar is set really low right now. We just need that.
I really liked that little speech. That he's not. I really liked that he's not even a good dog. Listen, movie had too much dog, but that was the good amount of dog for a speech.
Good amount of dog. Agreed.
Good amount of dog.
Agreed.
Marty nodding with every part of the speech. He's right. He's not a good dog. He's an overexposed dog.
He's not. He seems like an asshole, but he's also scared and alone, and he should probably be rescued. Also, he's clearly a product of his environment because his owner is a hot mess. She was great on House of the Dragon, by the way.
Yes, Millie Alcock. She's phenomenal. Really excited for Supergirl.
Yeah. Who's directing that?
Craig Gillespie, director of, among other things, I, Tonya, Dumb Money, Lars and the Real Girl, and Cruella, aka the Joker for girls. Really interesting filmography of varying quality. Oh yeah,
all of them are movies that I feel like I was kind of fine with. He did Mr. Woodcock. Mr. Woodcock in the same year as Lars and the Real Girl. What a 2007!
He was just hammering that out. And that was like him starting out. That was like that was his big swing at the industry. Like, I could give you Lars and the Real Girl or Mr. Woodcock, aka the inspiration for Phantom Thread.
That is true. I heard Paul Thomas Anderson say that. He said, I saw Mr. Woodcock. He's like, I got an idea.
Oh, amazing.
I have an idea.
What if Billy Bob Thornton were Daniel Day-Lewis? They also have 3 names, and he was a fashion designer.
Exactly. It's perfect.
Out there.
Love it. Though that was our thoughts on Peacemaker. Let's talk about what we've been watching. We've been watching all sorts of garbage, and I'm excited to talk about all that garbage. Jack, what kind of garbage you been watching?
Delightful garbage.
It's good garbage. Everything's garbage. Trash. Politely.
I see Darren and I have a couple in common here. And by the way, for anyone who watches like all of our podcasts and live streams, I want to say it was last week where we were streaming New Vegas, and I couldn't remember a movie I had watched earlier in the week. And I say to myself, oh, it must not have been very good. I literally cannot remember a movie that I watched, and that's very rare for me.
Do you still not remember?
No, I did remember. As it turns out, because Darren posted about it, I rewatched Princess Mononoke.
Oh, how did you forget about it? I mean, I guess it wasn't a first-time watch.
Just toss it off.
It's a movie I had obviously seen before. It's a brilliant movie, but so like because it wasn't new, it wasn't like gripping onto those neurons.
Sure. Did you guys, was it in theaters or something? Like, why did you guys both watch this?
I watched it because I saw Darren posted about it, and I go, oh yeah, it's been a minute. I should rewatch that.
Oh, gotcha.
And I rewatched it because it's in IMAX over here. I think it was over in IMAX last month for you guys in America. Mm-hmm. And like one of those, always a great thing when like a PR person just randomly emails you is like, oh, by the way, this might be of interest, not to your readers, but to you specifically, Darren. Just so you're aware, Princess Mononoke is playing in Blanchardstown this weekend if you want to go see it. And I'm like, sure, that's 3 bus rides at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, but I will go see Princess Mononoke in IMAX. And it is a gorgeous movie. It's an incredible movie. I don't think anyone needs you to tell you how wonderful a movie it is. If you haven't seen it already, it is gorgeous, stunning, like really interesting work. Like a lot of Miyazaki's work, a work that feels like it's in conversation with his earlier body. In particular, like this feels like Nausicaa, but a decade and a bit later. It feels like him reflecting on like the core themes of Nausicaa, which is this idea of the tension between man and nature, which is throughout his work is like one of the constant sources of his storytelling. But it really does feel like this is him returning in particular to the idea of conflict between the two, where like mankind and nature are destined to be in conflict with another, and industry and progress come at a horrific cost, and that we're damaging and destroying the planet. And while Nausicaa, slight spoilers for Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, ends with like this idea of, but look, we're all adults and we can all figure it out, and we'll sit down together and we'll talk it out and we'll have a discussion, and mankind and nature will learn to live in harmony and peace. Mononoke is, to me, much more interesting because it is the work of a director who said that like a decade and a half ago, and you can really feel the frustration of, that's not really going the way that I would have wanted it
I
to
was
go.
wrong.
I don't think we're going to figure this out.
But it does that without reducing any of its villains to caricatures. It is a movie that, like, as much as obviously Miyazaki is like a huge fan of nature, as much as like if you talk about his personal life, the stories that people tell about him were like he used to get up at like 6 a.m. so he could clean the street that he lived on before he would go into work at Ghibli. But like he obviously is somebody who cares very deeply about nature and about man's relationship to nature. And it would be very easy to imagine a version of Mononoke where the humans who are tearing down the forest and killing the gods and destroying the animals are monsters. In fact, the fact that I just described the plot of the movie and what they're doing makes them sound like monsters. But as the movie goes on, Miyazaki ends up having this incredible reserve of empathy, of understanding, but there's a reason why people do this. There's a reason why mankind treats the natural world in the way that it does. And that is a complicated thing where it's like, sure, we are living out of balance with nature, but also we are developing industry. Also, we are like progressing socially. It's very telling that the kingdom that is like devouring nature is led by a woman providing shelter for women who have been like abused within the rigid social hierarchies of Japan, providing a home and care for lepers. And the only way to do that is to generate capital and money and like to live within the system. So like Miyazaki creates this interesting tension where you don't necessarily hate anybody in this movie, which is just an incredible narrative choice and is so different from what the elevator pitch of this movie sounds like, because it sounds like Fern Gully. It sounds like the most, nature is good, man is awful story, but Miyazaki has this incredible ambivalence to his story. Also, it's just gorgeous. Like, it is a stunningly beautiful film.
No, but you're right. It's like the narrative of that movie is the gray area edgelords wish they could live in. It's just there's so much nuance to everyone's character, whichever like side of the multifaceted sides they're on. Which, like another wonderful thing is nature is not a unified element versus man. There are factions within that. There are factions within man's domain that fight against each other. It's just a beautiful tapestry of a story. Yeah, absolutely. And then I forgot I watched it. So
it just washed over me like the spirit of an angry boar god.
Where I love pretty much every Studio Ghibli movie and every Miyazaki movie. I haven't seen Mononoke in a very long time, and I feel like I should remedy that. Where does it sit for you guys? Like, is it your favorite Miyazaki? Is it top tier?
I'm a big old softy, so I like the more kind of like general population.
Like the Totoro, Kiki's
the ones that are
service.
less like we're hurtling towards the abyss, so there's nothing we can do about it.
Give me a Spirited Away.
I think Spirited Away is my favorite. Which
I can see
popular opinion. But what about you, Darren?
Right. Oh, I'm basic and I'm okay with that.
Hell yeah.
I think for me, this is certainly probably in the top three. It's Nausicaa, which is just incredible. The best cinematic adaptation of Dune before Denis Villeneuve got there. And also like Howl's Moving Castle is a film that I am like weirdly drawn to as well. Like the problem is though, you can name any Miyazaki movie and it's like, I feel like his most recent one, the Boy and the Heron, will probably be up there for me after a couple of rewatches because it needs to be digested. It's a movie that like still I'm sitting with and still wrestling and still trying to figure out. But yeah, no, I think it would be in my top three, maybe. Movies.
Is there another director who you think has more? Oh, I can see that as their favorite movie or as their best movie. like more possibilities for
Ones
like
you could
making an
name.
argument for their best movie.
Kubrick is the one that came to mind because there was a big stupid argument on Twitter recently about people will say anything like Eyes Wide Shut is the best Kubrick movie and not like
Yeah.
The Shining and not Barry Lyndon. It's like any one of
You're
those
just naming
three
masterpieces
movies.
at this
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
any one of
And-
those three movies could be the best movie ever made.
And
Right.
everyone feels different as opposed to like someone like Nolan, like the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, Dark Knight, I think most people say is the best of those three.
Spielberg
thing where
gets
it's-
Jaws or Jurassic Park, I guess, or Schindler's List.
I was going to say Spielberg kind of inventing a genre within film kind of gets a lot of hits out there.
And then you could also just be like, well, actually, Raiders of the Lost Ark is
Right?
like, my favorite thing of his. Yeah.
I'm rewatching the Coens at the moment, and it's like, so what's
Oh,
Fargo? It's Big
yeah,
Lebowski,
yeah.
Miller's Crossing, A No
Barton
Country for Old
Fink.
Men.
Yeah.
Like I think you could make a plausible argument for like 6 or 7 of them being
Yeah.
like old timers, and that's without allowing for like fringe cases, like as you say, Barton Fink or True Grit,
Llewyn
which
Davis
I
or
think you,
something.
which all of which I think you could make an argument for.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I guess Spike Lee might also be another one with probably have like 5 or 10
true.
favorites. Yeah.
And the insane thing about like Spike Lee is he's so prolific. I haven't seen all of his movies, and I'm
Oh,
like, yeah,
sure.
he's
Yeah,
got like
absolutely.
5 movies that could be considered among the best ever made.
And there's ones
Like,
I love that I forgot. I was like, I literally forgot about the Five Bloods, and I loved it. And I was like, oh shit! Like he did make a really great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you
Absolutely.
go. This is one. Okay, good stuff.
Great.
Jack, what else? What else have you been watching?
We got, I forget if it was, I forget when we started talking about it. I want to say we started talking about this during the big 12-hour stream, is we were talking about perfect movies that maybe aren't your favorite movies. Maybe not like the best movie you've ever seen, but just like, oh, it was going for A and it hit A really damn hard. This is a perfect movie. And a friend of mine, as I was having this conversation, said Once Upon a Time in the West. A movie I have not seen until last week. And let me tell you, y'all, this is going to be a hot take. Once Upon a Time in the West is a damn near perfect movie.
Yeah,
You
it's
had me
phenomenal.
braced there. I was like, is he going to come down? Is he coming from Sergio Leone? And I say that as somebody who doesn't really love Once Upon a Time in America. I think Once Upon a Time in America is one you can come for, but yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West is a masterpiece.
Absolute masterpiece. More so, it is the entire movie is a big floppy dong, because the opening sequence of the movie just is uncompromising in its pace, and it just says, "This is the movie you are about to watch. Get on board or get the fuck off, because this is it." It's just slow and churning, and a cynicism that is deep within the movie. These men's petty lives that any other Western would revolve around. The world does not care about these men. The world moves on.
Train is coming. Like, it's one of the great visual metaphors for like what the Western is about, is that train coming gradually towards the West. It's like colonization and civilization are coming. You mentioned the opening scene. Favorite fact about that is that like Leone wanted the 3 gunmen waiting for Charles Bronson at the train station to be Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and
Sure.
what's his face? Damn it,
The Ugly.
Eli Wallach.
Yeah.
No, it's a wonderful movie. It's that 70s era nihilism. The messaging of the movie of just like the cowboy era is gone, and we will be happy when it dies because no one cares about them. It's just a glorious
Most of
movie.
them are awful as well.
Most of them are awful, man. It's okay. Here's going to be my hot take about Once Upon a Time in the West. It's not a perfect movie. It's very, very close to a perfect movie, but it's not a perfect movie because the sound that they used for the harmonica is stupid.
How do you fuck up a harmonica?
That
That's already
Ennio Morricone.
just playing harmonica. Well, how do you fuck that up?
No, it is like a synthesized harmonica sound, and it's stupid.
It's the sound of death. Like, it is the sound of death approaching.
And it sounds stupid. It's that is the one thing that stops it from being a perfect movie, is it does not sound like a harmonica. It sounds like a synthesized harmonica.
Okay. Jack, slight spoilers for the movie, but if you want, you can imagine the air is coming through another hole in his body, if that's what you want. Like,
No, I know.
Should there be a harmonica cut? Release the harmonica cut where it's just like what's the noise McClunky? The McClunky cut where the one thing that's changed is just a noise.
Honestly, yes. If they like re-released this movie and made the harmonica sound better, it would be a perfect movie.
There you go.
This will be a special feature on The Adventure Is Nigh Season 5 Blu-ray. Will be Jack's alternate harmonica cut. It'll be the exact same movie, except every time Charles Bronson puts the harmonica to his lips, it'll be replaced with Jack.
I mean, it's like how you go see like a movie and they play the score live. It's like, oh, Danny Elfman scoring Batman '89 live at the Hollywood Bowl. It's that, but it's literally the only thing played live is the harmonica.
The one
Not
guy,
the score, just the harmonica.
I would we do that a lot here at the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. What did we see? We saw Jaws with a live orchestra. That was beautiful here. Coco with a live orchestra and live guitar players and everything. It was gorgeous. Yeah. I would move heaven and earth to see Once Upon a Time in the West with a live orchestra just so they can fix that goddamn harmonica.
Yeah,
with just one guy in like a 3-piece suit with tails and a bow tie. I want to shout out. You mentioned seeing something with a live orchestra. My favorite one is Blade Runner. I've seen Blade Runner because all the instruments for Blade Runner are so weird. Yes. It's like the orchestra section. It's just like jugs and stuff. It's jugs and theremins.
Was it Vangelis? Was that the name of it?
Vangelis. Yeah, Vangelis. Yeah.
That sounds beautiful. There was a dirty hipster art space music venue here in Milwaukee ages ago that shocker alert got shut down because it was no one should be able to occupy that space. The building was going to fall down. And I saw a noise metal band do a live score for The Predator. And it was great.
Were they doing their own? Like it was an original.
It was an original, and it was like harsh noise metal, and it was glorious.
I saw Goblin do Dawn of the Dead, which is just incredible. Goblin doing like a live alternate score of like, Dawn of the Dead. It's just incredible. Like it's one of my favorite like cinematic experiences.
Did Goblin did Suspiria?
Yeah. So I have like downstairs. Downstairs, I have like posters they did for the event signed by like the members of Goblin, which is very weird because it has like the pictures of the actors and underneath there's a signature. So whenever people come into my house, like, oh, is that the signed by the Dawn of the Dead guy? No, that was the synth player from Goblin. Yeah.
No, it's much worse than that. Don't worry. Yeah.
But they did the music. Oh no, they did not.
No. They have no real association with the movie at all.
I love that. Jack, what else? Anything else? I know there's something else you and Darren have seen.
Okay, here's a real quick cut.
By the way,
okay. After I watched Alien Earth, do you know what Hulu recommended for me? And I watched immediately.
I feel like it's going to be Weekend at Bernie's. I
have no idea why Hulu thought it was a good recommendation. It had been a minute.
Stories about cheating death.
True. There you go.
Kids and cheating death. Oh, that is exactly like that is the word. That's the AI word, Stu. Like the taglines, the keywords.
Yes, you're absolutely
kids and cheating death.
Kids and cheating
Weekend
death.
at Bernie's has that famous few frames of Ice Age in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's been a while. Like obviously, like everyone knows Weekend at Bernie's. I don't know when the last time anyone had actually watched Weekend at Bernie's. It is not as good as childhood Jack remembers it being. One, they don't get to the titular weekend until like 50 minutes into the movie. Ew.
Oh no.
A lot of that kind of like 80s, 90s rampant sexism, and it's just not necessarily funny. It's fine. It's a fine movie, but it wasn't as good as I was remembering it being.
Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's too?
Of course, I've seen Weekend at Bernie's too, where they
use Philistine.
Where they use voodoo magic to puppeteer him.
There we go. I was wondering if you knew what the premise of it was, but yeah,
the good shit. That's the good shit right there.
The same stuff they use with the shark and Jaws: The Revenge. Yeah.
Sometimes the algorithm is good. Most of the times it's bad. This time, very good.
So I guess Darren and I can talk a little bit about a movie we both watched that Marty had never heard of.
I'm very left out of. It seems.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Once again, I and maybe like I'm also just not on Hulu a bunch, but here we are. We're on Hulu to watch Alien Earth, and I see a new movie starring Samara Weaving, who was the star of the criminally underrated and wonderful movie. Oh, I'm going to call it Hide and Seek, and that is not correct. Ready or Not.
Ready or Not.
Ready or Not, which is a phenomenal dark horror movie, comedy. Everyone should see Ready or Not. It's really, really wonderful. Hey, new Samara Weaving movie. I'm down with this, and it was fine. It was fine. it was fine. It was one of those where maybe about 10 minutes into the movie, started checking my email.
Have I filled out my tax yet?
Started up a couple conversations like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Hey, haven't chatted to you in a while. It's like
it's one, like, I hate to say this because this is a burn for the movie, not necessarily a burn for every movie, but when you hear that a movie goes straight to streaming, this is the kind of movie you think of.
So it's produced by Reese and Warwick, who are known for directing like the Zombieland movies, and apparently Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Which is the third Now You See Me movie inexplicably, or the fourth?
Yeah, how did they not do that for the sequel? How did they fuck up there? So what is, like, tonally, is this anything like Zombieland? Like, what is this movie?
It's a dark action comedy. So it's more of an action movie. It has some darker themes to it. It's Samara Weaving is someone who's trying to get their life back together after a rough childhood and kind of like some crime-ridden teen years, who goes to reunite with her ex. And that leads them into kind of a one more heist situation. And she's got to get back into the life of crime. And she's a very good driver. She's a very good getaway driver. So, and that's kind of
like a diet, caffeine-free baby driver a little bit.
Yeah.
It, like, the problem is kind of tone stuff, where like the part of the movie that works is it's as you mentioned, around Cleveland, clearly shot on location, clearly using real cars, and like when they're doing car chase stuff, it's actually really cool because they're using real cars. It's that kind of like Twisted Metal thing of like, we bought a bunch of cheap cars and we get to crash them into each other, and it looks really cool and it's really exciting, and it in that moment feels like a kind of a 1970s movie where it's like, it's cheap, it's cheerful. It was very obviously shot in a location where we got lots of tax breaks. It was shot using cars that we could afford and get to smash up and knock out, and nobody was going to care. There'd be a rounding error in the spreadsheet. The problem is, like, as Jack mentioned, it is plot-wise, it is a 1970s heist thriller, which means that it is plot-wise very dark, very serious, very character-driven, right? Where it's like, early on, you discover like why the lead character is motivated to do what she does. She's like standing up for a partner who is less reliable than she is, who she is constantly getting in over her head, trying to help this guy who cannot help himself, and he is her Achilles heel. There's this old mob boss who she has this history with, and who everybody's afraid of, and who is very violent and very unpredictable, played by Andy Garcia, for example. And there's this motley crew of people who are kind of like inside, outside the job. You've got competitors, you've got like this big criminal underworld where there is this kind of, on paper, a sense of like plot and stakes and character. The problem is that like every single scene within that plot is written in the very modern, very self-referential, very wry, very kind of smarmy. We're all in on the joke. We all know what we're doing. We're all being goofy and silly. And so like there's this recurring thread where Andy Garcia, the mob boss that everybody's afraid of, has to constantly be getting like medical results and dealing with like his best friend who's like trying to shield him or trying to take calls or trying to screen calls. Or they have like conversations. They're like, look, we're having conversation in the back of this dingy club that's covered with pictures of women's breasts. Isn't that an odd thing to be happening in the year 2025? It's almost as if we're in a 1970s exploitation film. And it feels like the movie never manages to resolve the tension between being, as Jack said, a dark, gritty 1970s character study about people stuck in desperate situations having to make bad choices because, like, if they don't, the people they love will die, or being a self-aware, playful send-up of, oh, don't we all love 1970s movies, but they're a bit dated, so we're all here having a bit of fun. And the movie pivots on a dime between those two things, where like particularly as you get towards the climax, the characters are forced to make very serious, very heavy choices, which if the movie had taken itself seriously or had invested in the world would be heartbreaking. There's a moment towards the end of this movie which is like inevitable, where a character has to make a choice that is like should be heartbreaking on paper. But because the movie has been so jokey and so winky and so playful to that point, you're like, I'm not actually invested in this because I don't feel like this was ever something that the movie put on the table before we got to this particular scene. And so much of the movie is stuck in that space of being like, well, are you an homage to like 1970s exploitation films? Are you Drive or are you Baby Driver? And like it tries to split the difference between being the two, and I don't think it does a good job, which is a shame because, as you said, incredibly talented, incredibly charismatic cast like Samara Weaving.
A lot of the cast is doing a very good job with the material they are given, but the material in which they are given is very bad. And like I liked a lot of the actors in this. I thought they did a really good job of portraying deep characters. But at the end of the day, this is like I as someone who watches a lot of 70s, 80s era bad movies, direct to VHS movie, this would have been one of those movies that would have never garnered a cult following because there's nothing interesting about it.
Well said.
Yeah.
George Lucas points out they have discussed this movie longer than Once Upon a Time in the West. Take that, Sergio Leone.
Therefore, statistically, it is a more perfect movie. It is twice as perfect.
To be fair, this is a new movie that Darren and I both watched recently. I think if Darren or Marty would have watched Once Upon a Time in the West recently, we would have had a much.
I want to know what's the worst movie we've dedicated the most time to. Darren's about to say Superman.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds last week. Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah, that's actually That's literally 2 weeks ago.
I like, by the way, that it's like Superman, the movie Darren gave 2 stars to and quite enjoyed the dog in.
Damn dog, it's tearing this podcast apart.
Too much dog. TMD.
I can't believe I'm the one saying right amount of dog. Perfect.
You're just a Superman fanboy. We know. Everyone who listens to the podcast knows you're just obsessed with it.
I'm a gun gooner. Isn't that what they call it?
You're a gun gooner. You're a gun gooner.
They really drew the short straw when it came to like fandom nicknames, right? At least like Snyder Bros make it sound like they wear suits and walk in slow motion. Like,
sure.
Yeah. Gun gooner sounds like it's like you report him to the police and they're like, yeah, that's a real gun gooner you got there.
Nice.
It's like something Marge would say in Fargo. Actually, it's a real gun gooner.
It's a real gun gooner.
Yeah.
Won't you know? Darren, you've watched a couple new movies that I don't even think are out in the US yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. So first one is Caught Stealing, which is out this Friday. Which I think I can give a social reaction to anyway, which is it's very good. I found myself really charmed by it. It is it's a minor work by a major director. Obviously, Aronofsky is a filmmaker that I think I at least am up and down on. I think The Whale was a disaster. The Whale is one of like the worst like Oscar movies I have ever seen. But I think like Aronofsky, broadly speaking, is one of those guys, not to invoke him twice in the space of like 2 minutes, but like Snyder, where it's like, I'm glad he gets to do what he does because what he does is stuff that nobody else does. And so when he hits, and like, I think, off the top of my head, Black Swan is like a great movie. And it got a recent re-release in IMAX.
Perfect. That was my pick for a perfect movie, by the way, Black Swan.
And mine was The Fountain, and Jack
or
did
The Wrestler.
I think even Aronofsky would disagree with you on
Fountain's a perfect movie. I will not say, I don't even care what Darren Aronofsky says. It's not his movie anymore. It's mine. The Fountain's beautiful.
The studio wrested from his hands and put it into mine, where I accepted
You guys haven't read the graphic novel. You just don't understand it. It's like Southland Tales. It all comes together when you got the comic.
Lovingly, but again, Aronofsky, like even outside of that, like obviously, Pi, Requiem for a Dream. Noah, I have a huge soft spot for. Noah is like, what if
We're
we
Noah
did
fans
like
too? Jack and I are Noah fans.
Yeah.
I had no idea that you guys were so fond of it. Sorry, we getting an alert from Eric that we need to wrap this up, so I'm going to tone down the.
It's an old testament to our friendship that we all like the same movie.
Nice. I think we had a real arc with that movie.
The Old Testament one took me a little bit. And you did this, and I was like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "Oh, the Bible." Shit.
Sorry to keep crowing on about this.
Russell Crowe. I get it.
In fact, would you go so far as to say that Old Testament pun had you going, "What, son?"
I don't get that one.
Emma
I don't
Watson.
get that one.
Emma Watson is in it. She's the
Oh,
main
is she?
girl.
I forgot
yeah.
Emma Watson was in it.
There you go.
Okay, all right. I do also love that it has is it Ray Wise going, "Noah, you slag." But anyway, my point is that Aronofsky does generally interesting things, and like even when they don't work, I'm not a huge fan of say Mother, for example. They're generally interesting, and like Caught Stealing is, to my mind, reminds me a lot of something like we mentioned Spike Lee earlier, him doing like Inside Man, or Scorsese doing like After Hours, which is like a director doing I just need to get something made. And so I'm going to just make a movie set in New York that's like a high concept genre piece that is just going to demonstrate like what I do and how I do it, and that I can do it on time, on budget, with a bunch of actors that people like. And it has an incredibly stacked cast, which is incredibly charismatic. It manages to remain very Aronofsky, which I'm very impressed with, where it is like 10% more body horror than it needs to be, 10% nastier than it needs to be. It is a surprisingly nasty genre film. And it is just...
By the way, that is shocking. Like the trailer for this is like, this is a fun crime caper romp.
You kids, you love Austin Butler, right? Like, oh, he's in this movie.
I don't want, like, I will honestly say, as somebody who knew nothing about the story going into it, I was kind of blindsided by a couple of choices the movie makes with particular characters in a good way, where it's like, this movie is playing with like skin. It has skin on the table. Incredibly likable cast, incredibly charismatic cast. Butler is, obviously, he's a star. I'm really disappointed that he's not stuck with like that Matt Smith accent he has to do at one point in the movie. It'd be so funny if like he came out of it just having to pretend to be Matt Smith. Smith is very good. Regina Hall is very good. Like, Vincent D'Onofrio and Liev Schreiber as like the Jewish gangsters from Pi is just delightful. And I just had a really great time with it. It's a nice slice of kind of like 1990s American nostalgia. It is so funny to think that like we are so far away now from like Giuliani, New York, that we look back on it with like the fondness that 90s kids used to look back on like grotty 70s New York. Where this is like, man, remember 90s New York, where like the Twin Towers should get like third billing in this movie. But yeah, I had a good time with it. It's not amazing, it's not incredible, it's not going to change your life, but if you're looking for something that is like an old-fashioned crime caper of the kind they don't really make anymore, with a really starry, charismatic cast, and you don't mind a movie that is going to be really unpleasant at times, like distinctly unpleasant at times, and will also be like quite graphic in terms of like the violence inflicted on the human body, go with it. Like it manages to be a genre film and an Aronofsky film, which is something I really like the splitting of this. Again, reminds me of Inside Man, where Inside Man is on paper a pure genre film, but when you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, this is a Spike Lee movie.
I'm stoked to see Caught Stealing. Really quick, Jack, did you laugh the same thing I did, where it was like 3 frame? It was the amount of Ice Age in most movies, but it was of the World Trade Centers. It was... I feel like Eric put up, and it was just the World Trade Centers. It wasn't like 9/11 stuff. It was just the World Trade Centers. And I feel like Eric was like, maybe I shouldn't.
Because it was like a scene from Caught Stealing, scene from Caught Stealing, just a still shot of the Twin Towers pre 9/11, black.
Never forget. Like the ending of it, like Gangs of New York as well. But like, but
all
like
those
again,
buildings, they look great.
It is hard to overstate how much they are in the movie, and how much the movie is like when it's framed around New York. The frame is always making sure that you can see them. And I think like the movie is to a certain extent about that idea of nostalgia for pre 9/11 New York, that kind of like end of history stuff, where it's like, and again, it's Aronofsky. It's like, this was when Aronofsky was a young man. This was when he was making Pi and Requiem for a Dream. So of course, this is the New York that he remembers. And there's certain other like, again, nobody's seen it yet. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it is kind of very Aronofsky in terms of being quite Jewish in terms of like its morality. It's got this kind of like arching, your character made a mistake and they will pay for it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And just when they think they paid enough, they have not paid enough. Like it has, again, very Aronofsky in terms of its storytelling. But that works when it's like Austin Butler has to do crime, as opposed to Brendan Fraser has to stare at a bucket of fried chicken as the orchestra goes wild.
I'm glad you said that instead of Hugh Jackman has to kiss his tree wife while floating through a space orb. I would have gotten real mad if you would have said it with that kind of tone.
I mean, also anything in the third act of Requiem for a Dream, to be fair.
They're staring at a lot of buckets, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
And then just very quickly, I saw the new Toxic Avenger movie, Macon Blair's movie. I had a good time with it. Like Jack, it's funny. Jack talked about like perfect movies, which are movies that do exactly what they set out to do. But like it is very obviously and very paradoxically a movie that is clearly in love with the midnight movie as a concept. It is in love with the trauma movie. It is in love with the schlock movie, the VHS classic, the DVD classic, but it is from a filmmaker who knows what he's doing. Where Macon Blair, he hangs out with Jeremy Saulnier, the guy who does like Rebel Ridge and was it not Blue Valentine, but he does like Hold the Dark, and he does Blue Ruin and Green Room and stuff. And so like this movie knows how to like work the camera and how to make the movie look the way that he wants it to look. Where it reminds me a lot of not so much trauma movies, but of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like those old kind of like early 90s movies that used to have a lot of prop work, a lot of costume work, a lot of set design, a lot of like makeup and stuff. And it's very obvious that this movie was shot on a tiny budget. I don't know what the budget of it was. And it's not a movie that looks expensive because the point of this is not to make it look expensive. The point is to make it look like a good bad movie, as good as it can.
Yeah.
And it is like, it does run up into that problem that a lot of this like nostalgia stuff runs into, which is the question of like, how do you make a good version of something where part of the appeal is that it's a bit schlocky and it's a bit bad? And like the question of like putting it on, are you able to ironically inflect that? Like, is there a sense in which you're kind of winking at it a bit too much, and does that take you out of the joke? But I found myself really charmed by it. It has a bit of that thing that you guys talked about with Naked Gun. I didn't find it a problem with Naked Gun. I kind of found it a little bit distracting here, where this stars Peter Dinklage. And Dinklage is like one of the great actors of his generation, and is like one of the great dramatic performers of his generation. And he is given it socks in this movie, and he is like imbuing this like central character with tragedy and with pathos, even as the script asks him to do all this stuff. And he is, like Liam Neeson in Naked Gun, entirely in on the joke. He gets that the joke is that he is doing this in a Toxic Avengers movie, and he is imbuing Toxie with like humanity and complexity. But there's also a point watching it where I'm like, is he too good? Like, is Peter Dinklage like? Did you aim too high, Macon Blair, with this? But I found it incredibly charming, incredibly fun. I left with a big stupid grin on my face. And what more could you ask for from the Toxic Avenger?
Yeah. That's fair.
How do we feel about this? What if the two movies, Naked Gun and Toxic Avenger, swapped leads?
Oh, interesting.
So Liam Neeson as the Toxic Avenger and Peter Dinklage as John Naked Gun? He's got a name. What's his name?
Frank Drebin Jr.
Frank Drebin
Jr. I thought it was John Naked Gun.
Toxic Avenger, which is already a very violent, very graphic, very bloody film, would get much more intensely violent.
Sure.
Like this immediately.
Right, and Liam Neeson already did his Toxic Avenger with Darkman, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie rules.
Take the elephant! Take the fucking elephant!
That movie's so good. I love that movie.
It is great. I love Darkman so much.
Shout out to Darkman, friend of the show. He's not racist, right? Darkman's not racist. That's fine.
He doesn't even have skin. Like he
doesn't have skin. He lives in a post-race world. Incredible. Okay, I'm gonna go over the super chats that came in. I don't know why I said that. I could just start going over them. Pierre Pyro, thank you so much for a €2 dono with a great point. Jack, you missed one part of your of your what you've been watching. Pierre Pyro with a €2 dono says, my to-be rec is Bronson. That is the Nicholas Winding Refn film starring Tom Hardy as Charles Bronson. Speaking of but not the Charles Bronson you're thinking of, another Charles Bronson.
Once upon a time in America and in the West. That Charles Bronson,
infamous serial killer Charles Bronson. Thoughts on Nicholas Winding Refn? This movie fucking rules. When I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, Tom Hardy's like got the juice. And I like Nicholas Winding Refn. Not just because he's friends with Hideo Kojima and is in all of Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2, but I like his big swings. You know, I do think I get that for a lot of people he fell off after Drive, but I'm kind of here for it. I'm here for his Miles Teller vampire show. I'm here for everything.
Neon Demon I quite like as well, and Only God Forgives I'm kind of all in the bag for. The thing about Refn is in that space, like I mentioned, like Aronofsky and like Snyder, where it's like he's doing stuff that nobody else is doing. And while it may not always work for me, the chance that the next thing could work and that nobody else could make the next thing that he makes that works means that I'm inherently like, let the man do what he does. And if 5 of them suck and one of them is a masterpiece, that's okay with me.
Yeah, I think like the Neon Demon is a really great big swing, and it's like it's like that aesthetic of a horror movie distilled to its purest. Definitely worth a watch. So
Reeves is very good in that. Keanu Reeves is like very good in Neon Demon, if I remember correctly.
Love Keanu Reeves. Love Neon Demon. Love all this
stuff.
So
so to be fair,
give us a to be fair.
So I have the perfect to be fair for this conversation. As we talked a little bit about Once Upon a Time in the West. If you want to know what Once Upon a Time in the West is kind of a response to, the Dollars trilogy is on Tubi. That's right.
Beautiful.
You can watch a fistful of dollars, for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, all on Tubi right now
for $0.
For $0, and you don't even need to sign in. As a reminder, Tubi does not sponsor this portion of the podcast.
We're working on it, but there's no responses. We think they're sending us to spam.
We are sure they do not like us in general, but Tubi, the streaming service that you don't even need to log in to watch free movies.
Yeah.
Shout out in the comments that we should get Pluto TV to sponsor it. That would be the real power move.
Every once in a while, I think it was like when I've been rewatching Paul Thomas Anderson movies. I was like, is anyone streaming Hard 8? And of course, none of my 5,000 things I subscribe to are streaming Hard 8. And they're like, it's on Pluto. I was like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah,
I don't know what Pluto is. Isn't it just like
limit.
TV?
That's the limit of my stream. I just don't want Pluto. I'm sorry.
It's not a planet and it's not a streaming service. That's my thoughts on Pluto.
I'm working through the Coen brothers, and it's like it has been like a situation where I've had to buy every movie that I want to watch there. Sure. Where I'm like going through, and it's like, okay, The Man Who Wasn't There, I gotta buy that. Fargo, I gotta buy that. The Big Lebowski, I gotta buy that. And then I get to like, Intolerable Cruelty, I gotta buy that. And I get to The Lady Killers. The 2004 movie starring Tom Hanks, and it's like, this is available on Canopy. The sophisticated streaming service.
Of course, the fucking library has Lady Killers.
But I like that it's like Canopy. It's not like Pluto TV, and it's not like Tubi. It's like Canopy, like just laid out the entire spread of Coen Brothers movies. I'm like, we'll take that one, thank you very much. Yeah. Thoughtful entertainment.
Miss Harmony with a $2 dono. Thank you, Miss Harmony. Arena from 1989 is good, bad, and it has Gul Dukat and Quark.
Mark Alamo and Armin Shimmerman. Fantastic.
These are Star Trek's
actors. Yes,
these are actors in Star Trek.
Arena 89. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I like the Man versus Monster Arena. I like the cover of it. By the way,
I like that it's like, what if we did Rocky with Predator? It looks like, which is such a great
that looks
pitch.
great.
Yeah, that looks like the pitch.
That looks like a fun movie night movie with your friends. Like, let's watch a schlocky action movie. Yeah,
that feels like a future Tubi.
And by the way, it's on Tubi for
future Tubi fair. Incredible.
Just putting that out there.
I love it.
What would be the version of that you would do today that you'd have to combine the two? Like, if you like, this is obviously like Predator meets Rocky.
Like, people keep saying they want Fast Furious Jurassic Park. Like the
I guess that's it. I guess that's it. Actually,
I don't want more of either of those. And I don't want them together.
Do you want like the Canon Films version of it starring Mark Alamo and Armin Shimmerman?
I don't know who those men are, but I like the last one's name, Shimmerman. That's a nice name.
He's very active in the Screen Actors Guild, which is great because he plays Quark, who's a rampant capitalist on like Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
I love that. I just sit here nodding. Do you remember in November when I'm gone, there will be a whole Star Trek episode. You guys can talk about all the Star Trek.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so nice. Everyone, please tune in for that, and then just
Dan
don't
and
bring
I
it up.
Talking Star Trek. We'll get some guests on, and we'll just talk Trek. Yeah, it'll be great.
Marty sitting on a beach, just staring at the distance, going, "I could be talking about Star Trek right now, but
I'll be in Tokyo.
Oh,
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna be thinking about you guys whatsoever.
Marty in Japan will like be at the Studio Ghibli Museum, not thinking about us at all, taking in true art while Darren and I talk about Star Trek. It'll be great.
Why am I imagining like Lost in Translation?
I'm gonna be at that rooftop bar at the Park Hyatt, trying to talk with strangers, make friends with them, and then being like, Robert Patrick's not racist in the show, right? And they're like, the season is done. He's clearly racist. Why are you arguing this?
we didn't watch Peacemaker. HBO Max isn't available over here.
We only watched Suicide Squad, the isekai.
Huh?
Look at that. You still got it. Nick Knoll, thank you so much for a $5 dono. Marty, just start introducing all of your co-hosts at the beginning of each podcast by adding definitely not racist after their names. See, that'd be great. No one can get mad at that.
Terrible idea.
Definitely wouldn't be any confusion over people being like, why'd they have to say that?
Never a great thing to have to clarify.
Yep.
Be fair, it's better than probably not racist, to be fair.
Like, I'm getting tired of letting everyone know I never was involved in an I know what you did last summer-esque hit and run where we had to dump the body off a cliff and keep driving. Never happened to me. It's totally fine. Stop bringing it up, everyone. Double Finger with a €5 dono. Thank you, Double Finger. I have to admit, out of morbid curiosity, I'd kind of like to know what happens to Fassbenderbot and his xenomorphs he somehow built in a dirt shack with a box of scraps. Yeah, I wish they would go back. I wish they'd because he intended to make that a trilogy, right?
Yeah, he did indeed. I mean, like part of me is like the way the Covenant turned out feels. I like Prometheus. I'm a big Prometheus fan. Not in the sense of like I wish everything were Prometheus all the time. I just like Prometheus. But the thing about like Covenant is when it came out, I was a little underwhelmed by it. And as time has gone on, and as everybody's talked about like the production of that movie, it becomes increasingly clear that like Covenant is about making Covenant, where like it's about this like weird guy who lives in his own little world who wants to just make his own weird nonsense, and nobody will let him do it because it's a bit weird. What's the line that Walter says? You unsettled them. Like there is a sense of like Ridley Scott being like, well, I'll show them in my dark castle how to make an alien movie. And I love that like Covenant ends with Michael Fassbender, the Ridley Scott like stand-in, just walking off into Valhalla with like a ship full of poor subjects and alien eggs. Like, well, I got Fox's money to do this, so I guess I won. Isn't that what this is all about? And I feel like that is maybe for me the perfect end of the character, where anything beyond that would be kind of pushing it just a little bit, where I feel like it would kind of tip over and all come running down. I will say, as a comic book guy, I really dug the Avengers versus Aliens comic from Hickman and Isad Ribic, which was published recently, which is more David-centric than I had expected it to be, I will concede. And maybe the only time that I feel like anybody has captured Michael Fassbender's distinct voice in prose. So if you are interested in like building off that, I would recommend that. It's a 4-issue series.
That's a Hickman comic.
Yeah, no, it's a Hickman and Ribic. It's the guys who did like it's Secret Wars, which is like the most prestigious Marvel comic of like at this stage the past decade, the most important Marvel comic. And they're like, "What do you want to reteam on? What are you guys working on? What's your big pitch?" And it's like, you know how you guys bought Fox recently and have been trying to find things to do with their IP, and it's like, yeah, how about we do a crossover? It's like,
what if we just have a little bit of fun and play with these toys, huh?
Yeah.
But and it very clearly is. It's like Hickman playing with all of his favorite toys, where like Mr. Sinister is inexplicably important in a comic titled Avengers versus Aliens, because Hickman likes the character of Mr. Sinister. But it's so much fun. It is so much better than I expected it to be. So much better than many of those crossovers are. And if you're yearning for more David in your life, it has like good amount of David.
Who here yearns for David?
There's a moment where like he's pinned to the ground by Tony Stark, and it's like, you guess your androids don't know what playing possum is, and he just delivers the line, "Playing possum, I'll have to remember that." And you're just like, I can hear Fassbender's intonation of like, I'll have to remember that.
Well, if you want to see Tony Stark, or if you want to see Robert Downey Jr. and Michael Fassbender in a movie together, I'm sure they'll share a terrible scene in Doomsday or Secret Wars. What could possibly go wrong there?
but not as Magneto, as David.
As David.
That's the big twist.
Now you
That's
get me interested. Be like, fuck it, we're just bringing everyone out of the garbage can. We're just throwing them through portals.
Love that they're like, by the way, most of the actors have wrapped. The script is still not finished.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just amazing.
We'll figure it out.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, like how every actor they ask about it, like Alan Cumming is like, I don't know what the fuck that was. But the check cleared, and so sure.
I was in a green. They locked me in a green room and like asked me to do some poses.
Oh, you're thinking of Patrick Stewart. He locked him in a green room.
Have you guys seen, I know this is slightly tangential, and I know that's not why you guys listen to a podcast, to hear us tangent on stuff, but
God forbid. Yeah.
Have you seen any of the recent Kumail Nanjiani interviews where he talks about kind of like the vast depression that he went through after he's like, oh, my life is set for the next 10 years. I'm going to have constant work. I'm going to be in the superhero
movies. Was like 6 movies and a video game.
Yeah. And then, obviously, like for a variety of reasons, it underperformed, and it just never saw any of them ever again. And I think it's a really fascinating look at the Marvel machine. Obviously, sometimes a lot of our peaks at the Marvel machine are through the more blander movies. But here we have just like this abject failure that cost people a possible career path, which I think is really, really fascinating. And obviously,
because we always hear the like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. like this was his like huge comeback, and it made stars out of Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth and everything. Whereas like that, it's like, it kind of fucked up my life. Yeah. Also, Kingo, great character. I like Kingo. Bring Kingo back.
I mean, Marty, you and I are both on like Eternals Island with the adamantium. Yeah,
love it. Yeah,
it's us in the adamantium.
And then they brought that shitty island back for the Captain America movie. And I was like, you can't do my boys dirty like this.
I do love that it's like, this is what the audience demands closure on. The island from Eternals and the Incredible Hulk from 2008. Oh, you mean they're going to bring back Ed Norton? No.
That's too much. No. Very sad. True Mando with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, True Mando. And I see Death Approach. Wait, what is that sound? Is that a poem?
Oh, that might be from Once Upon a Time in the West, the harmonica.
Oh,
y'all just look up the scene and listen to that harmonica. It sounds really stupid.
I'm now in my head picturing the shitty doing the Jurassic Park theme on a recorder and really fucking it up. Yeah.
It's just like Bronson is clearly not playing it. It sounds weird. It bothered me the entire time I watched it.
I have somebody's downstairs at the door. Can you give me 2 seconds?
Yeah, of course. And then Murray, the Demonic Skull, thank you so much with a $2 Canadian dono. I appreciate you, Murray. Shout out to the Limey and Zod. Rest in peace, Terrence Stamp. That's right, Terrence Stamp, the legendary actor, passed away last week. I would say best known for probably playing Zod in the original Christopher Reeve's Superman movie. Also incredible in Soderbergh's The Limey, which is one of my favorite revenge movies, where he has one of my all-time favorite scenes where he's looking for his daughter, and he goes, the camera is static the entire time, and he goes, Darren, we're talking about The Limey. And
yes,
he goes into this like auto body shop full of toughs, and the toughs off screen. Again, this is all like the camera static outside. He goes in, he clearly gets the shit beat out of him, and they throw him out the front door. And you just, because he's an old man, they're like, we beat the shit out of him. He goes back in, pulls out a gun, and you just hear a bunch of gunshots and screaming. One guy comes out running away, and Terrence Stamp comes back out. His face is covered in blood, and he just yells, "You tell him I'm fucking coming!" And it's one of the like scariest, like, oh my God, this man will literally kill God to get his daughter back. An all-time great. R.I.P.
Yes. Oh, The Limey. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The Limey's a masterpiece.
Yeah, but also just talking about Terrence Stamp passing away. Yeah. So, great as Zod as well. He's also in about 3 seconds of a Phantom Menace, I believe. He's Chancellor Valorum.
Yes, he's the guy who's replaced.
You're thinking of Valerian, the hit film starring
the City of Planets.
I don't know who's in that movie.
No, it's Dane DeHaan and Cara.
Oh, Cara Delevingne, right?
Delevingne, yes.
Who's one of the stars of the hit film Suicide
who is
Squad.
A perfectly normal human being.
Perfectly normal. Don't got to Google him. Nothing bad's ever happened
played
with him.
Stick in the Elektra movie.
Oh,
Yes, he did. Yes, he played the mentor
I
character.
don't remember
Directed
that.
by Rob Bowman, veteran X-Files director.
Oh yeah,
Bowman was one of those guys who, like, when I was watching the X, I was like, he's gonna pop. He's gonna be like a great director of movies, and he goes on to direct, as you mentioned, Elektra, the X-Files feature film, and Reign of Fire, which is surprisingly good. Yeah.
Top 5 dragon movie? Gotta be
That's
a top 5
that's the
dragon
dragon movie.
I mean-
not the 9/11 movie, by the way. That's
Yes.
Reign.
You're thinking
That's
of
Reign
Reign on
Over
Me.
Me.
Reign Over Me, which features a little Shadow of the Colossus. He
Yeah,
has
that's
grief
right.
because his family died and he plays Shadow
Yeah.
of the Colossus. Murray, the demonic skull with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. Speaking of dark, cynical 70s movies that stay with you, but you shouldn't ignore the misogyny now. Darren's thoughts on Sam Peckinpah.
Blind spot for me. Haven't seen much outside of like Straw Dogs and The Wild Bunch.
Wild Bunch.
Straw Dogs is a movie that, you know, obviously is complicated to talk about. I didn't love it. I understand why it was important. I understand why it made the impression that it did. No, didn't think it, again, as you say, very dated in its attitudes towards masculinity and towards women. Better than the remake, I guess, at least, which starred Alexander Skarsgård inexplicably.
That can't be real. Is that a real movie?
Yeah, that's the real movie. That definitely exists. I have not gone insane 2.5 hours into this podcast and started hallucinating movies like I'm ChatGPT for movies. But
very possible, though.
Incredibly possible.
Who could say? And then also the Wild Bunch, which is a masterpiece. Like the Wild Bunch is just one of the great westerns. We were talking about westerns there. One of the great revisionist westerns. But
truly.
Peckinpah even more than, and again, most 70s directors kind of, you need to unpack the misogyny around them. Like, was it is it One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where it's like the fun, lovable McNulty character who's played by Jack Nicholson gets committed to the psychiatric ward, and the movie's meant to be like, you got committed for nothing. You're not meant to care about it. Don't worry about it. It's like, oh yeah, he had sex with a 15-year-old. And it's like, the movie's like, see, it's crazy what society's imposing on this man. Totally unreasonable.
Not just the 70s. I randomly caught like 45 minutes of Armageddon. And Steve Buscemi's character in that movie, there's a recurring bit that he's like a total horn dog. He just keeps sleeping with people and picking girls up at bars. And then this recurring bit where he's like the cops or the FBI or whatever shows up at the oil rig, and he's like, he goes up to them and he's like, I swear she told me she was 18. I didn't realize she was younger. And it's like played as a goof several times in the movie. I'm like, what is happening? Why were we fine with this as a
by the way?
Yeah,
because like Con Air goes to a sequence where like he has coffee with like a young prepubescent girl. But yeah, like it is weird how many of these like 70s movies are just casual that, where the story is it Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they're doing the story section with Lucas and with Kasdan and with Spielberg, and you can read the transcript of it. It's a wonderful transcript for getting like how stories are told and how like Spielberg and Lucas have their own, in some ways, great senses of story, but senses that kind of clash and how they reconcile them. But there's a moment where they're talking about Marion, obviously the character who goes on to become like pivotal to the Indiana Jones lore, and they're talking about like how young she was when Indiana Jones had the affair with her.
Sure.
And there's the moment when like I think Kasdan or Lucas are like, yeah, she was like 18, and when the other one's like, nah, maybe she was a bit younger, and Spielberg's like, no. She had better have been at least 18.
Let's not make our lead character a pedophile.
It's so fascinating because like Spielberg just instinctively lays down the hard line. You can tell that like Kasdan and Lucas are like, this is an avenue we should explore, and Spielberg's like, no. That's just like hard no on that.
This is not that kind of movie, and that's why I'm Steven Spielberg.
Listen, George, if you want to live your weird fantasies and put your female lead in her chainmail bikini choking a large fat man who's keeping her prisoner, go ahead. Just don't bring that to Indy.
Exactly.
When you said the 70s directors, I was going to be like, not George Lucas. And I was like, no, never mind. I forgot about
there it is.
Return of the Jedi.
No, there's no underwear in space. There's not. I swear, that's why your cans are out.
Also, not because I'm going through a very painful divorce and dealing with it in a very uncomfortable psychosexual
Yeah, guys, we saw
way.
Temple of Doom. We know you hate your ex-wives. We got it.
She took my movie and made
At least you
everyone
guys put it
love
in
and hate
one
her
movie
for it.
as opposed to making two separate movies.
Yeah, like it is so great that like Spielberg's like, there's not one ounce of my personality in Temple of Doom. And Luke's like, yeah, we were both going through some divorces, and we thought it was a nice way to work through some stuff, and you can really see it on screen there. Like, I love the pairing of like Lucas and Spielberg as kind of sitcom-esque opposites.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
absolutely.
What's the other one? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, very quickly. There's the crystal skull thing where like Spielberg's like, look, and we kept arguing over this, and Lucas was like, I want it to be aliens, I need it to be aliens. I'm like, George, I don't want it to be aliens. It can't be aliens. Don't let it be aliens. And Lucas is like, okay, I'll go away and I'll come back and I'll think about it. And then a couple of weeks later he comes back, he's like, Steven, I got a great idea. I think I figured out what it's gonna be. And Spielberg's like, just as long as the next words out of your mouth aren't aliens, we'll be fine. And he's like, extra dimensional beings, Steven, that's what it is. And Spielberg's like, fine. Fine. Like, technically correct. You got it. You got it on a technicality, George.
At least he didn't make Indy a pedophile in this one.
Right?
Thanks, George. Then we have Blenda. Thank you so much for re-upping in the tip jar. Appreciate you, Blenda. And finally, Sussy Guru with a €5 dono. Speaking of Fast and Furious, in the Asterix show, there's a Roman character named Fast and Furious. That's actually a good goof.
They're funny. Like, the
That's
Asterix
good.
stuff is funny. Not that you get it, Marty. It's probably too sophisticated for your American palate.
It is! It's too highbrow. I only watch Japanimation. That's going to do it for us. What a show.
I love that we were like 2 points. We'll be in and out in 2
We'll be in and out. We can get this done in under 2 hours. Easily.
It's fine. Jack can eat something. He was giving interludes. I know when Jack wants to leave, and he wants to leave right now. Jack, what do you got going on?
If you come back to this channel in about 40 minutes, I'm taking over Nick's spot, and I'll be streaming with Jenna Stieber. We are going to be streaming the co-op game Peak, the mountain climbing game, for a couple of hours. That's what I have. I'll be back with Marty and Jess Hoops on Thursday, streaming Fallout New Vegas, possibly the last Fallout New Vegas stream, which is very, very exciting. And we continue to make progress on all the Adventures Night stuff. I don't know if we're going to announce it yet, but we have picked the dates for shooting season 5 of Adventures Night, which is this year. Coming up possibly sooner than we would like it to, but it's very exciting.
Well, it turns out you blink and then all of a sudden it's Christmas and you're like, shit. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So there's lots of stuff happening on the back end. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Darren, I mentioned at the top of the show, folks should check out your excellent new episode of The Backdrop that you put together with Jesse.
Looking at Alien Earth, and again, talking a little bit about stuff we talked about at the start of this, just looking at like what it is that makes Alien Earth, for me, work as well as it does in terms of like managing to be both familiar in terms of playing with the alien iconography, but also managing to find like room between the raindrops of continuity where it can dance and explore. I think it turned out very well. Jesse, tremendous editor. As I said, as I always say, like when I get those videos back, I'm always like, how do you do this? How do you make this make sense? It is a wonderful video, and again, shout out to Jesse and shout out to Omar who ended the last one as well. Just incredibly talented team to work with here.
Jesse Schwab is the kind of editor who is like not only like has a great like editor voice, like he can add to a video, but he is also shockingly fast. Like we will oftentimes
like, the fastest editor we have.
We have this project fell through the cracks. We just needed to turn around. He will turn around a project that will have a personality to it, which is incredibly hard to do as an editor. Look at that. And also take a look at it. If you're watching this on video, take a look at that man. Just the coolest dude. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Yu-Gi-Oh master himself. He loves Yu-Gi-Oh. He makes Yu-Gi-Oh videos.
It's true.
And then this weekend, obviously 2 columns coming up, one of which will be about, I believe, Twisted Metal is ending, so that column will be coming out. And maybe writing about like the stuff we talked about with like the presentation of children in media, or maybe Caught Stealing if something kind of strikes my interest. So those will be out this weekend as well.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to all that. And you have your own podcast. You never promote your own podcast. Tell people where to find it.
I don't know if that's kosher to come on here and be like, hey, go. The 250, which by the way is going on hiatus. We should mention it's a great time to plug the podcast. But yeah, the 250, which I co-host with my good friend Andrew Quinn. Jack has been a guest on. We've been trying to get Marty on as well. As listeners will know, it has been a very hectic summer for us scheduling wise. We're getting to the NBA summer finals just now in the late August period that we're in. But yeah, we look at the IMDb's top 250 movies of all time. We do a different movie every week. At the moment, we're doing so. This week coming up, we'll be talking about Charlie Chaplin's City Lights. Last week, we did an inexplicably long, like 3.5-hour discussion of The Green Mile, Frank Darabont and Stephen King's movie, with the wonderful Charlene Lydon, who is like programmer of was programmer of the Lighthouse Cinema here in Dublin, and like a huge King fan. She runs like the Stephen King book club. And Cathan Leahy, who is the author of like Tuesdays Are Just as Bad, and like just really fun to geek out about like King. There's a lot of King talk in that, like where it's just because King is like such a large part of like Americana and such a large part of pop culture. And when he was doing The Green Mile in like 1999, I don't know if people are like old enough to remember this, he serialized it. He wrote it in the style of a Dickensian like serialized novel, because he was literally like, I have conquered book writing. What more can I do? So he writes the world's first ebook, which is Riding the Bullet. He writes the world's first like audible podcast as well, which is a collection of short stories. I think it's Bag of Bones, maybe. And then he also writes like a Dickensian serialized novel. And he breaks contract and like sells the rights to his next book for $17 million. And he writes 2 books in the same year under different names, competing against each other, featuring like the same characters in different situations. Like it is so fascinating to like get into like how weird King was, like how obviously King has always been like omnipresent in culture, but in the 90s he is just everywhere. But yeah, that's a discussion. If you like Stephen King, if you like Tom Hanks, if you like Frank Darabont, give that a listen.
That sounds
we
like
will be
a
going
fantastic listen. That sounds like the exact kind of thing you want to listen to.
But if
you
you
also
jump into
program.
2.5 hours of this,
A few episodes from now, because mid-September we got the long walk coming out. We can go. We can have a little King chat. Can we talk about Langoliers?
you not only have the long walk, you also have the Running Man.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's right.
And the
Right,
Langoliers.
so you
It's
can
probably an
walk or
anniversary for the
run.
Langoliers.
Yeah.
Got to be.
A Maximum Overdrive. We'll do a whole 2.5 hours of Maximum Overdrive. The first movie co-directed by Cocaine. Yeah.
We missed the 30th anniversary of the Langoliers by a few months. It was in May.
Oh darn!
Yeah. Oh dang.
You know how like straight down the line that community is about that, Marty. Like it wouldn't fly.
Now we got to
They
wait
would-
till the 31st anniversary.
Yeah, exactly. Which is probably more fitting. So Jack will be back. Normal podcasts the rest of the week. Firelink and all that. I believe DevHeads is moving to next week. I found out during this podcast because we had all 4 in this week. They're moving to next week Friday so that they'll be able to talk about Silk Song.
Oh, that's right.
Because that'll be coming out.
So
next week.
everyone's excited about Silk Song.
We love our Silk Songs. And just thank you to everyone. Thank you so much to everyone who watched the show live, donated your super chats, members of the Green Gang, folks who support us on Patreon. We appreciate you. And honestly, all the folks, listen, all the places that aren't live. If you're listening on audio, we know we have a lot of audio listeners on places like Spotify and everything. We appreciate you. Someone posted a lovely thread in our Reddit earlier today just about this podcast, and it was just the only purely positive thread I've ever seen on Reddit, just being very nice to the 3 of us and being like, Darren is so smart, I'd listen to him talk about anything. I really think Marty and Jack are really funny and they have a great chemistry. I even like watching when I don't know the movie or when I disagree with them, and I'm like, oh, people are so nice. It was so nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to all you.
People are wonderful. Eric is being very subtle here. Like, I'm not pushing to leave, but Eric literally put a timer.
It's plastic. Once again, please tune back in 30 minutes here or on Twitch. Jack will be back with Jenna playing Peak. So for Jack and Darren and Eric, this was Marty. This was the Rewind episode number 28. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoons and evenings, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.